Okay guys, we're back at the Tribunal. We're going to go out live. We're going out live, I should say. It's lunchtime. I'm just about to get a photo with this lady.
Oh, the sun's really bright.
Thank you. What's your name again, sorry?
My name is Heather.
Tell us about your channel that you've got, Heather.
I haven't got a channel, I just follow you.
Oh right, I thought you said you had some followers.
No,
oh right, okay. I was going to get you to advertise it in front of everybody.
I don't. I'm not so interesting.
Right. Well, you know, you're here, and this is an interesting topic that you could talk about.
Well, I just really come as a disgusted woman. Really,
Yeah.
I don't particularly stand with any political party or anything. I just come as a very concerned and, as I say, disgusted woman at the way that things are going for our young people, and I don't blame the young people. You know, I think that there's been a lack of stewardsmanship or stewardspersonship from the adults and particularly from the educators.
Absolutely, the universities are literally poisoning their minds, and these kids believe the university lecturers.
Yeah.
Now, you know, they are the bad actors in this.
Yeah.
You know, it all comes from the institutions. Yeah. It's a long march with the institutions, and then what happens is the kids that go through university with these postmodernist, critical theory, queer theory ideas go into the institutions like the NHS here and write the policies and enforce the policies.
Correct.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing is the result of some activism and activists having positions in the public and the you change your opinion.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's been a lack of that and a lack of critical thinking. They just do not teach the critical thinking
Well,
anymore.
critical thinking, people are told, and adults are told what to think, not how to think.
Yeah, and you've got to reflect on your own views. You've got to constantly do that loop and think, I'm doing this, I'm going out doing this thing. I always question after when I've done something, is it right? Am I doing, you know, if any new information comes to light. But on this, you know, it's been the same for millennia. There are two sexes. It's rooted in biology. It's rooted in objective truth.
Correct. And one word I think has completely muddied the waters is the word gender. The word gender.
Yeah.
We need to stick to biological sex. There is male, there is female.
Yeah, it was always used synonymously with sex.
Interchangeable.
It meant the same thing pretty much. But you kind of like have they started to have like gendered language, didn't they? And when they always say, oh well, sex is different than gender and gender is a social construct. So why are you using gender to cross into sex divided, you know, categories? That's right. The problem.
That's right. And then as you say, the intersex comes in. Well, you know, even intersex people have a male or a female.
Yeah, well that's it. I mean, intersex is basically a red herring that the trans activists throw out to try and make people believe that there are more than two sexes.
To bamboozle people. But I'm quite sure that common sense will prevail.
Yeah, I am as well. The tide is definitely turning. For me, this is a foregone conclusion.
Yes.
You know, because you know, you will be aware because you're here. There's two pieces of legislation which are contradictory to each other. You've got the Gender Recognition Act and the Equality Act. So Gender Recognition Act 2004, watch the play on language here. The Gender Recognition Act allows you to legally change your sex. So there's a conflation, gender and sex. Yeah. So the law creates a legal fiction that you can become the opposite sex and you get your birth certificate changed. And that's where these, you know, autogynephilic men got a gender recognition certificate and said, I am now a woman legally in the eyes of the law. I can go in this place. And that's what the Supreme Court ruling did. What it did is clarify that sex in in relation to the Equality Act 2010 meant a biological female, not a man that calls himself
and
a female.
Biological sex trumps everything.
Absolutely,
yes.
yeah.
Can I just thank you for everything that you do?
No, thank you so
for
much.
supporting women and protecting children.
Thank you. Yeah, and I don't want to be gaslighted as well by society.
No.
I don't want to be told to think that black is white is black, down is up and up is down.
Correct. And telling vulnerable people lies is not being kind.
No.
It's not being kind at all.
When they say be kind and use my preferred pronouns, well, how about some objective reality?
Yeah.
It's not kind to lie to people.
No, it isn't kind to lie to confused people.
Yeah.
And,
Mentally ill people.
Yes, as well as that. Yes.
Or perverts.
Yeah.
I don't mince my language anymore.
No. Well, it opens the door for all sorts of issues like this today.
Yes. Yeah,
like
and that's
today.
why we're
and
here.
I'm sure the nurses will win.
Yeah,
Here's
absolutely.
hoping.
Yeah.
And thanks
So,
very much
thank
for
you
that.
so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. We've got 30 people in the house. We've only been on 5 minutes. Thank you guys, thank you so much. Let me just go out here a little bit. Further right, I go out.
I think as long as there's no two
So it's lunchtime, guys. We're expecting people to come out pretty soon. I think so. I'm hoping so anyway. Can anybody tell me what time it is?
It's 12.
Oh, 12:05, thank you. We might have to wait another half an hour until they come out. Have you heard anything that's happened this morning? Because
Started, apparently.
they've not even, I heard they were taken into a private room for...
Yeah, just because it was like they were doing something.
Do you mind going on camera or do you want to stay off
I
it?
wasn't looking.
No, do you want to go on camera now?
No, because I wasn't reading the
Oh, right, okay.
Something that someone told us.
Yeah, all right, no worries. Yeah, so thanks for joining, guys. Again, I will keep apologising for this morning for forgetting my tripod and having to hold the camera in my hand and then having to cut the stream because I was in the taxi. I jumped in the taxi without telling him I was live streaming, and then it went on for that long and he said, "Are you watching something?" I says, "Oh, I'm going to cut this." But he was a great guy, the taxi driver. He's now a subscriber. He wasn't quite sure what was going on, so I re-educated him. Top guy. He said he's going to watch the streams. I forgot your name, mate. I speak to that many new people. So yeah, we're outside the. For those just joining, it's called the Family and Civil Tribunal Courts. And what I didn't realise earlier, we're right outside that building there. You can see from the top, Northumbria University. So I may go outside the university with my boards in a little bit. You know, there might be a few students coming past, getting on the bus. There's like a bus stop here. So, so yeah, let's see what happens. Nobody has heard whether Rose is in the building or not. So for those that don't know, Rose is the man who's been going into the changing rooms. And I've said this before, we know how it works. The long march through the institutions. These bright young upstarts go to university and they get head filled with magic. Then they go into institutions like the NHS and they write the policies, they enforce the policies. Even if they don't write them, if they're written by civil servants, maybe at Whitehall, they've been through this system as well. And they enforce the policies. So even though I'm pretty much 100% sure that the nurses are going to win this, there's going to be no comeback or retribution on those HR people that are enforcing this policy, because all they'll say is that was the policy at the time and we were just following orders. Who's that? Orbit Strike. Found your channel recently, sir. You're doing a brilliant job. Balls of steel. Thank you. And thanks for standing up against this madness. Yeah, I mean, when I first started going out on the streets, everybody kept saying, oh, you're really brave, really brave. I didn't see it as brave. Right. So, the students walking past, you know, the ones with like green hair and stuff like that. Okay, I'll let you see them. There you go, look at those. Right, they're walking past with the green hair. They're going in to be indoctrinated. They really are. And they don't realise it. So I'm pretty sure that a little bit later, a bit sooner or later, I'm going to be going outside that unit. I mean, if I go out there over the other side, I'll see if I can grab some of the students walking past. There's not a lot happening at the moment. What I don't want to do is, if I go over there, I don't want to miss them coming out here. Looks better from this. The sun's shining this way, so when I put the camera this way, you know, it goes a little bit like hazy, but it's a bit more action going on behind me. Let's have a look. Read some of the signs. Keep up the good work. I will. Wish there were more men willing to speak out. I do as well. I wish there were more men doing this kind of stuff too. Guys, if you're watching this and you want to get out on the streets, just, you know, watch a few of my videos, watch a few of Billboard Chris's videos, you know, see what we do, see how you can handle certain situations. And just go for it. I understand that people can't do it because they don't want to lose their job. There's more student-y types coming. If I point it this way, you'll see them coming past. Yep, she had a septum. Never trust a girl with a septum piercing. Just saying. I'm just saying, avoid men, avoid them at all costs, young men. It's a poor life choice to get with a woman with a septum piercing, I'm afraid. They're very unhinged. She's got a head shaker. I know, head shaker there walking past. Yeah. Sorry, it was a bit.
Sorry, I'm just aware of. I've kind of watched everything you've done, so
Thank you.
I'm kind of aware I'm kind of vulnerable, but you're not.
Yeah.
You're not.
Well, I'm always looking around like this. You can see people say, you know, stop moving about, stand still, but I've got to be looking. I'm okay here, I don't have to do it so much here. But when I'm out. Hello. All right. They always look the same.
Unwashed.
Yeah. Unwashed, unkempt.
I think she's doing an interview over there.
Yeah. If I go a bit further out here, I might encounter them more. You know, if I'm here, they're walking through. The wind's getting up now, so these boards are going to be flying everywhere.
I don't know if there would be more. We never know what to expect.
Yeah, I thought there'd be more of the TRAs out, but
Maybe they're not anti-nurses.
yeah.
Some of them. So we did a Let Women speaker in Oldham, and that was more on along the lines of the grooming gangs.
Right, okay.
So there was no opposition there.
Right, is that where you're from?
Yeah, I grew up in Oldham.
In Oldham, yeah. Right. Okay, yeah, not too far from me. I'm like Stockport.
I got off scot-free just.
Did you?
Yeah.
Guys, we've got 87 people now in the house. Thank you for tuning in. Lunchtime session. Apparently it's not started yet. You know, the full hearing for some reason. There's a guy called Tribunal Tweets on X. Apparently he's been tweeting about it, so you could follow him. I'm using my phone now, so I can't check and follow it. So it's a pretty quiet road here, so there's not much passing traffic, not much passing foot traffic. Obviously the university is on the other side. I think they're all pretty much in now for the second wave of the indoctrination for the day. But a few of them do cross this. Well, the wind is getting up everywhere. Just got to make sure that the tripod doesn't blow over as well. Thanks Lisa. So Tribunal Tweets, Lisa's just put that up in the chat. So, whoa, there was the wind nearly knocking it over. So I'll have to stay very close to the tripod. Oh. Okay. Whoa, you can see it blowing from left to right.
What's your setup then?
At the moment it's just my phone with a DJI mic. I normally have an action cam when I go out on the street, but this is live streaming now, so so I just got my phone. Yeah.
You normally have one on?
Yeah, I normally have one on the front, and then I've been so disorganised on this trip, if I'm honest. I've forgotten my strap for my front camera. I forgot my tripod this morning. I've been ill actually, and I nearly didn't make it here this morning. So my mind isn't that focused at the minute.
It's hard, isn't it? I remembered quite a bit.
Yeah. Cat Harvey says, be more Karen. There's the occasional student walking past, but none of them will dare engage me. I'll come tomorrow. I don't know if there's going to be much happening tomorrow, but what I'll do is I'll go outside the university. Steve, did you hear the story about the trans woman in Middlesbrough who was recently in the news? So a trans woman, that'll be a man. Tell me, that's from Jake. Tell me about it, Jake. So it'll be a man pretending to be a woman. Why in Middlesbrough? So my sign just blew up like that and hit the tripod.
Yeah, so basically we're just waiting now, and it might only start after lunch. Yeah, maybe.
Right, everything's... It's okay, no, it's all right. The wind is my nemesis, I tell you. I'm going to take off. Thank you. I think that's right. Is it? It's not twisted, is it? No, I don't think so. Oh, is it? Yeah, if you uncross it for me, please. Yeah. Thank you. Amazing. Yeah, cheers. Thanks.
Would have strangled you.
I know, yeah. No, I think I'm quite safe here today. I hope so.
Northern hummus.
Northern hummus.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What's better than hummus?
Hiya, mate. Have you heard what's happening?
Nothing apparently.
Nothing at all yet.
There's lawyerly talking.
Right.
And all the women are in the waiting room.
Right,
as far as I
okay.
know. Which means should come out for lunch early if I was them.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not in the live stream, so I can't tell.
Yeah, and I can't do it because it's on my phone. Somebody's Tribunal tweets apparently is tweeting from
I
them.
don't think anything started.
Yeah,
It was the first
right.
day they're getting
Yeah.
arguments.
Yeah.
And so they're probably not even streaming.
Right.
So hopefully it'll come out.
Yeah.
I think I'll just disappear.
Do we know if Rose is inside?
No. That's what we've been talking about. I don't think so.
No.
And it's so easy for him to come to sneak in.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a big.
Yeah. Big building. Hi, mate.
That's great.
Yeah.
Getting a
Good.
bit
Look at the size. Do you want to come on camera? Look at the size of this man. It's. How much do you weigh, mate? Let me guess. You must be 20 stone. Of muscle. What's it in kg? About 130 kg. 130. Not a bad guess. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, what am I? About 70. So you're almost double my size. This is security. What did you say your name was, mate?
Addy.
Addy. He's come all the way from London. Security. Got all these rowdy women. And you're here for 2 weeks, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
I may go and come back again.
Yeah. So are you staying up in a hotel then, or do you? Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. I mean, you're that big. The camera's cutting off the top of your head. There we go. So we're streaming now to about 100 people. There's so many people interested in this. Yeah. Yeah.
So just still waiting for the outcome.
Well, well, of course, the outcome's going to be in a couple of weeks. Everybody will be interested in that, but you know, people are interested in the topic itself because it's just so ludicrous. You, under the Gender Recognition Act, you could identify as a woman, right? And then we'd have to believe that you're a woman. You could legally change your sex to a woman, and then you could go in in women's spaces and that. It's crazy. What are they saying? Is Steve on his knees? No, this guy is just huge. He's like a man mountain. They're calling you Mr. T. Remember Mr. T? I bet you get called that all the time, don't you? Yeah, Mr. T. He's quite an old geezer now, isn't he? Yeah, he's getting on.
Maybe 70 years old now.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. So he's almost twice my size, 130 kilos, and I'm 70.
Newcastle.
Yeah. So press are coming, press are arriving again. So there's more press. Not sure who he works for. We've got Ian, who's freelance. Ian, that's Ian there. Ian got all the photos for the Sandy Peggy case. We've got Tony in the back there for GB News. See the red flag there? That's the red flag advertising the Ladies' March down in London on the 1st of November. That's 199 days later. So 199 days since the Supreme Court ruling, and still lots of the institutions haven't complied with the law. Let's have a look. He just took a photo of you. Who did? I don't care. I mean, I'm here. Let people take photographs with me with the signs on. Louis Theroux has put a bit of weight on. Who's, oh right, we were saying that Ian, the photographer, looked a little bit like Louis Theroux, maybe. But yeah, look at our big guy there. He's huge. Look at the size of him. He's massive. There you go. Big setup there, mainstream media. I'm going to go and ask him who he works for. That's a pretty impressive camera setup, that, mate. Who is it that you work for?
ITV.
ITV. Do you think they'll cover this fairly? Yeah. So they'll be calling Rose a man because that's what his biological sex is, or will they be calling him a woman? I know you're just the cameraman. I know you're the cameraman, man. Yeah. All right. Yes.
No.
Hello.
One or two of us were a bit bemused when you first turned up with this at the start.
Right. Okay.
Because we look at the colours and we thought, oh, isn't that the trans colours?
It is.
All right.
Done on purpose.
Right.
You understand why, though, don't you?
Well, I'm beginning to. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So what happens is, obviously, if I just had a normal sign, so it was black with white writing on or whatever, it wouldn't get noticed from a distance, right? But obviously, the ideologues that follow this trans and gender nonsense, they see it from a distance and their eyes light up.
I think, oh, let's go.
And they think, brilliant, let's go. And I see them walking towards me smiling, and then I just see the face change. So yeah, I get it. I mean,
that's brilliant.
Yeah, so it was a strategic decision at the beginning of my campaign to use this. I've run it by a few people and said, do you think that'd be a good idea? And the majority of people said, you know, yeah. So, and of course it's their colours, and it's also educating the public. Because they'll come that don't know a lot about it, and that's part of my campaign, educating the public. And I'll say anybody that's flying these colours are basically supporting this ideology of sterilising and mutilating children, allowing men to cross sex-based boundaries, predatory men to go into female toilets, changing rooms. So when you see these colours, you know what they stand for. And I point them to the Pride Progress flag as well, because that's, you know.
Well, interestingly, I've been pursuing the same idea for a while in some ways, because I really love colours and I like the spectrum, and I like the spectrum colours. So I've got lots of bits of clothing which have got the spectrum colour.
You don't, so all of a sudden you become an ally when you put it on.
Well, that's what it seems. But you know, as I began to sort of do that more, I was hoping or thinking, you know, people are going to come up and say, "Oh, glad to see you're supporting the gay pride," and I go, "No, they're about 4,000 too late." You know, Noah was giving them first, and I'm going with that, thanks.
That's
anyway,
it,
but there was another slight thing, which is
Go on.
The one on the back. Was it that one? Maybe there was another one.
Yeah, I've got one of them that says "Keep men out of women's sports," and that says "Gender ideology does not belong in schools."
All right. No. Let's
Yeah.
have a look at this one, 'cause we were...
You may be.
No, it was this one. You had them on the other way round.
Right.
So it was trans women are men. That took a bit of sorting out in your head.
Right.
Because it could be read in two different ways.
How? In what way? Because I know they mess with the language as well.
Well,
go on.
You know, if you read trans women, that could be women who say they are men.
Yes. Well, this is because the trans rights activists have confused the general public with the language.
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
So, their main chant is "trans women are women." So, the language they've used is a trans woman is based. What you need to do is substitute the word trans for pretend or for fake, and then you'll understand.
Yes.
So when they say "I'm a trans woman," you're a pretend woman or you're a fake woman. Yeah. You're just a man.
Yes.
with a dress on and a bit of lipstick.
Yes, I mean, I totally agree with that, but it's just, you know, it's not only men claiming to be women, there's women claiming to be men.
Yeah, so they would be then called trans men.
Yeah, but
So the language is deliberately confusing
Yeah,
by design.
yeah,
They've
yeah,
deliberately kind of
yeah.
flipped it.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
To confuse it,
That's
yeah.
why it took a bit of sorting out which trans women were you stating. You're talking about, you know,
Yeah.
trans women
Yeah.
are what men are being called when they
Yeah.
want to be. But there are also women who
Yeah.
are trying to, you know,
Yeah.
go in the opposite
Yeah.
direction.
No, I get it.
which is-
And
which
of
is
course,
tricky.
the question there is, what is autogynephilia? So that's a way of then being able to educate the public.
I don't know. I've heard it, but I forgot.
Yeah, so
Go on, tell me. Educate me.
autogynephilia,
Yes.
okay, it was a name given by a guy called, I forgot his name. Michael J. Bailey wrote a book about it. So I've forgotten the name now of the guy. It'll come back to me. So he used to interview all these men that pronounce themselves as women, all right?
okay, yeah.
And it's basically a paraphilia, sexual paraphilia, where men, well, the worst one is paedophilia. So
Yeah.
it's one of these,
Right.
it's one of these sexual fetishes, which is out of the normal kind of range of acceptable
Yeah,
behaviour,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's basically, an autogynephile is a man that gets a sexual kick of imagining himself becoming a woman, or imagining himself as a woman.
A bit like the transvestites.
It is a little bit transvestite, because the lines are blurred.
Yeah, yeah,
Transvesticism
Yeah.
was more about cross-dressing.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
So,
okay.
this
Well,
is more-
Why did they do that?
As well, because they get a sexual kick out of it. But that was about the clothing. This is about them actually being a woman.
Right. Yeah. So.
But there's a blurring of the line. So
Yeah.
the fetishistic transsexuals, you know, the lines are blurred with autogynephiles.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
There's a book which I've just bought called, by Michael J. Bailey, and it's called The Man Who Would Be Queen. Right, so I'm about to really get stuck into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Very good. Okay.
So,
what's going on?
and what brings you here then today,
Well,
personally?
I'm with the sort of Christian Concern Band.
Ah, right, okay. Right, so you guys have been supporting this, you know,
yeah.
through the courts. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can imagine if you've not seen me doing this campaign before, you would have looked at that and thought, hang on a minute, is he one of the trans rights
Exactly.
activists?
Until
Right.
you read the words, so it worked. You know, exactly right.
Right, yeah. So I kind of like go up and down the country doing this. If you
yeah.
check out Edge of the Matrix on YouTube,
Right.
you'll see me doing this campaign up and down the country.
right,
I've been
so you-
attacked many times off the
Uh-huh.
trans rights activists for doing this. They get very annoyed at me.
Yeah.
They tend to throw food products over me, like soup or like golden syrup or chili sauce. You know, I've been assaulted many times,
Well, good man. Good man.
but it's not put me off.
Excellent. So where's home for you then?
Stockport, which is South Manchester.
Right.
So I've come up specifically for this.
Yeah.
You know, there's many people now. I've got a growing kind of subscriber audience on social media.
Yeah.
You know, and they support me financially as well to do this. So
Right, yeah,
they've paid for my transport here. They paid for my hotel to get here because they want to see this content.
Yeah.
You know, but it's brilliant what you guys are doing. You know,
Right.
because you're the legal team, right? That are behind.
Well, they've got the legal team. I mean, I'm just somebody who's picked it up on board. I'm a sort of local,
Right.
sort of Christian, but you know, it's horrid. I thought it was horrid from the beginning, and you know, you pick it up in various forms, and I picked it up from Christian Concern, and I've been following it a bit with them and other places. So when I heard they were coming up here, you know, for me in some ways it was easy. It's sort of an hour to get from home to here.
So when I go and do this up and down the country, and I normally go in city centres, of course in a lot of city centres you get the people preaching the Bible, going around giving leaflets out. They always come up and support me all the time. So that's the Christians. Now, I mean, I'm from Manchester, doing it in Manchester a lot. There's also a lot of Islamist preachers as well. And they actually come up to me as well, and they thank me for doing it. So I'm like, hang on a minute, is this one area where both Muslims and Christians have found common ground on something? I just thought that was kind of like an observation which you wouldn't have thought that. Well, in fact, actually,
well, it doesn't surprise me. I hadn't heard it before, but you've proved it. You know, because you know, various religions have more than one side to them. Right? Well, you know, they do. But in a way, it doesn't surprise me because they are very fussy about sex. Now, I don't think they always treat it as well as they might do. But it doesn't surprise me that they would come on board with that. Now, interestingly, I wonder how the Jewish religion is coping, because I know some of them, well, perhaps even a lot of them, when I think about it, have gone on board to the gay movement. And I'm not sure how they respond to the trans that have been sort of
so
on the end of it.
Here's the clever thing, what the trans rights activists did, and in particular Stonewall, who fought for gay and lesbian rights. Once they'd won those gay and lesbian rights, they was without a job. It was mission accomplished. That would have meant all their funding would dry up. So what did they do? They jumped on the trans bandwagon.
I thought it was the other way around, but you know, anyway, they agree with each other.
So what they did, they jumped on the trans bandwagon and grouped everything together. So now you've got the alphabet soup, and they keep adding letters. So it's the LGBTQIA+. If you're in Canada, it's two-spirit, right? So there's some kind of two-spirit thing to it. But in this country, it's LGBTQIA+, right? Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual. Plus, what does a plus mean? That can mean anything. That includes your pup playboys, the ones that dress in these sadomasochistic puppy masks. You've got the furries, they dress in these furries. You know, what goes on behind the scenes here? I know exactly what goes on behind the scenes. That's another sexual paraphilia, a sexual fetish, which is almost, when you think about it, they're dressed as animals having sex with each other, or there's a human having a sex with an animal. So that links into bestiality a little bit. So there's a lot of these strange perversions, but this whole acceptance and rainbow colours means, you know, everything needs to be accepted, and they can bring their kinks and fetishes out into the public.
Do what you like.
That's how I see it happening. But the fight back. So this, when I campaign, you know, raising awareness of the trans ideology and the harms that it causes, I always make it clear that this isn't, my campaign isn't an anti-gay, anti-lesbian agenda. In fact, this whole ideology, the trans ideology, is anti-gay and anti-lesbian because.
Well, I know at the start there was quite a bunch, and possibly still is, in the gay movement who are against that, you know, coming in. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely, but not a lot of them are aware of it. There are some astute people in those communities that are, and they always come up and thank me for doing it. A lot of times, I'm a gay man, I'm a lesbian, you know, I'm sick of them hijacking what was our civil rights movement, you know, because young children that were going to the Tavistock Clinic, I don't know if you're aware of the Tavistock Clinic, that was the GIDS, they closed it down, Gender Identity Disorder Service, I think, or Development Service, whatever they called it. And there were young kids, I think there was about 70 or 80% of them were same-sex attracted. So they were gay, boys, lesbians, and the clinicians were saying to them, oh, maybe you're not gay, maybe you were born in the wrong body.
to us. We'll
Yeah,
help
come
you.
to us. You know, we'll point you to the endocrinologists that's going to issue you with puberty blockers to stop you turning into an adult.
And then start chopping you up if you really
Yeah,
want.
it goes from puberty blockers to cross-sex hormones or opposite-sex hormones. So they suppress your
And it
body's.
doesn't stop there.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's the next phase. So they suppress your body's natural hormones. All
And
right.
it's all reversible.
So they say
You'll
it's
think.
not. It's not.
Exactly.
No. Maybe if you just took puberty blockers for a short period of time,
Maybe.
it would reversible. But the thing is, about 99% of the kids that went on puberty blockers then went on to opposite sex hormones. So it was those two together. And those two together sterilise people, sterilise young kids, and it literally stifled their future sexual relationships because they're never going to be able to have orgasms. And then the next road, which you rightly mentioned, was the scalpel. You know, double mastectomies for young girls, you know, what they call a vaginoplasty for men or young boys, basically, literally castrate them, turn the penis inside out, you know, create a faux vagina. It's an open wound which has got to be constantly dilated. It's horrendous. And I don't know if you've seen, I've seen all the pictures. They're not nice.
No.
They're not pleasant. And what they do to young girls is they take the flesh off the arm, take it off, roll it up, sausage shape, sew it on downstairs.
Yeah.
You know, it's disgusting.
Pathetic.
The doctors and the surgeons pushing this for me need to be jailed.
Yeah, yes.
Need to be
Absolutely.
jailed.
Yeah.
And some of them, the way that they advertise it on TikTok and social media, as if it's all fun and it's all rosy, you know.
Well, it ought to be jail. Like, you know, if you're coming back to where we are today, you know, I'm thinking as I'm coming here, you know, the NHS authorities and whatever who've been, you know, victimising these women for what they've done, they're the ones that should be slung out their job and
Yeah.
maybe jail.
But do you know what? I don't even think there's going to be any comeback on them because
No,
the
very
fallback
much.
is we were following the policy at the time.
Yeah,
So it's the
that's
policy
right.
writers,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it's the institutions, it's places like that over the road there,
Yeah.
the university. I've seen.
It's come through the universities,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, it's postmodernism,
Yeah.
critical theory and queer theory. It's about disrupting Western society, deconstructing everything that we know to be true.
But interesting, alongside this, I'm just pursuing something that's happening between Newcastle and Whitehaven,
Right, okay, what's that?
which is they've got a queer art exhibition with
Right.
posters on every station between Newcastle and Whitehaven.
Right,
By the Queer Cumbria group, whoever they are,
Right.
that goes through Cumbria. And the one that's at the station, which is just over the river from me, and it's the one that is probably good that I went to that
Yeah.
one. Oh, well, I went to that one, came across that one first because it's a poster which says, now, trans joy is real and pure.
right, okay,
On a poster on
right,
the station where all the kids are going to school, you know, and into town. I
yeah,
thought, that's miserable. So I'm sort of looking into the possibility of pushing back
Yeah.
through.
we've got one here. I'm going to go and speak to her.
Right. Okay. All right.
Do you want to come over? It'd be great this. Come over. Hello there. Let's get you in the shot. Just don't stand in front of that. So I'm going to ask you some questions, if that's all right.
Why you chose those words?
Why I chose the words?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about it.
because as someone who's trans
Yeah.
and knows it's not my choice to be trans, how can I not be myself?
Okay. Well, I chose those words because those words are based in biological reality. Okay. So trans women are men. Would you agree?
biologically born men.
Yeah.
Gender identity and biological sex are two separate topics.
Okay.
And a lot of people combine them.
Okay. So, okay, if gender is separate than sex, why are people using gender to cross sex-based boundaries? Why is roles that's in there, okay, that this tribunal's about, a man using his gender identity to cross into sex-based spaces, if they're different? Take all the time you like.
Because they're not sex-based, they're gender-based.
They are divided by sex, biological sex. What you're doing is conflating sex with gender. You're telling me it's a different thing, and then you're crossing those boundaries. They're divided on biological sex. Women do not want men in their spaces. Do you go into women's spaces?
I use women loads.
You use women loads, right? So what do you identify as?
As a trans woman.
You identify as a trans woman.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a man.
I'm not a man.
Okay, you've got the biology of a man. Okay, and you're going into female separated spaces. Yeah, so you're a predatory male.
And how am I abusing women?
Can I just tell you, as a woman, don't use women-only spaces, because you would make women and girls feel afraid. So you've heard it now. Don't use women-only spaces. Is that clear?
Yeah, I will just use a disabled toilet and then fuck up disabled people.
No, just not women's. Well, you can use a men's. You'll be perfectly fine.
I will get beat up in a men's.
No, you won't.
Yes, I will.
You look like a man.
I've had physical abuse against me.
What, dressed like that?
Yes. I've been physically attacked.
Look, you obviously seem like a vulnerable person, so I'm not going to pursue this. I'm just telling you, don't use women-only spaces, and I think you'll be perfectly safe using a man's space. Hang on, one moment.
I've been abused using men's toilets.
Okay, I don't believe you.
I've been physically attacked. I've got police records where I have been attacked in men's toilets because I've been too scared to be myself and go into the women's toilet.
No, don't use a women's toilet. Do not use a women's toilet. I'm telling you now, under no circumstances must you ever go in a women's toilet. Is that clear?
Yeah, what would you do if there was a trans woman in a toilet?
I would tell them to leave.
Yeah, if they didn't, what would you do?
Well, I'd be very frightened because I'm a 5'1" woman, aren't I?
Yeah, I know trans women which are your height. What if it was someone your height?
Okay, I'd still ask them to leave because they don't belong in there.
But what's...
Look, I'm just going to say this because I do think you're probably a vulnerable person. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to exploit you, but I am just going to remind you, as a grown woman, I would like you, because you're a very tall man, not to use women-only spaces. Okay?
That's fine if you can identify. For me, I'm getting frustrated where people are getting confused between biological sex and gender.
Yeah, biological sex means you can't come into women-only spaces.
But being trans is a protected characteristic of the
Not for
Equality
me,
Act.
it's not. Yeah, but not in a women-only toilet, it's not.
It's a protected characteristic of the Equality Act.
Yeah, but not to allow you in women-only spaces, it's not.
Based on biological sex. That's what the Supreme Court ruling
Supreme Court
confirmed.
Was funded by
Don't.
funded by J.K. Rowling with billions. Didn't listen to trans voices. We had trans judges which were refused to give evidence. We didn't have our voices heard in it. The EHRC have removed their evidence.
I'm going to speak to you very kindly.
Guidance.
I'm going to speak to you very kindly. Right. Whatever struggles you're going through, and I imagine they are immense, your biological sex is male. That means you cannot come into women-only spaces.
I was born a male.
But
I'm
how tall are
medically
you?
diagnosed with a condition which means that my gender doesn't match my biological sex.
But you wouldn't want to.
So would you argue with medicine?
Yeah, you wouldn't want women to feel afraid, would you?
I don't want women to be afraid. I've got plenty of women friends.
All right. So you would make a lot of women afraid because you're a very tall man.
I'm not.
You are. You are a really tall man.
I'm not a man.
Yeah, but you are. And I think you might actually be happier if you just got with the fact that you're a man and lived your life happily, admitting that you're male.
I know 100% I'm not a man. Like, my gender isn't a man.
Yeah, I think your biological sex means...
Like, for me,
yeah.
I respect your views, and I'm happy that you're owning the term TERF.
Okay.
Because...
Can I ask, what does your mum think?
My mum is fully supportive of me.
And
so
why,
are my aunts, so are my grandma.
Does your mum think that you're genuinely a woman?
Yes.
Do you think she says that because she loves you and she doesn't want to upset you?
No, it's not that she doesn't want to upset me. She knows through her faith and my faith that it's the right thing.
And what is your faith?
Christian.
Do you think that God made a really big mistake with you then?
No, God made every one of us perfect.
Do you think God would think that you were given this lovely body and the body that you're given is the body that you live in, and that's a man's body?
God made all of us in His own image, and they made every.
No, I think you're quite vulnerable, and I wish you all the best, but I would like you to know that you are a man and you cannot come into women-only spaces. You're biologically a man. You cannot come to women-only spaces.
I wouldn't like you to come into trans-only spaces.
Well, that's great. I won't be doing that. I won't be doing that at all. But I really do wish you the best, and I hope that you find a place where you can be happy in your own body.
I am happy right now. Thank you.
I couldn't do it.
No, he is very vulnerable. I'm going to speak to this one though.
Is that the changing of the gender does not change sex?
No one's arguing that.
Oh, that's fine. So we agree on that principle.
It doesn't. No one's changing chromosomes. That can't occur. But chromosomes aren't defining of who someone is, and it's not always as black and white as people say it is. There are many intersex conditions which are also included in this. And
Hi.
Do you, when you're talking about the understanding of the protected characteristics as per the Supreme Court ruling,
yes,
how do you think that has affected the community that you're representing by your board here?
I think it's negatively impacted the community. For example, if someone is a trans woman and they pass completely as a woman, do you think
that doesn't happen?
I'll get to you in a second. Do we really think that anyone is going to feel that they should be in a men's bathroom? If there is a trans man who has been on testosterone...
That's a woman.
Who has been on testosterone for 10 years, for example, beard, all the operations, would a woman want them in the women's toilets?
Have you read the Supreme Court ruling?
I have.
So you know that when they're talking about trans masculine people who've taken testosterone and have facial hair, that they are recommended to go in the males?
Yes, which I think is a bit hypocritical if people are saying that trans women shouldn't go in the women's toilets.
Do you not think that was made a decision on the risk assessment as opposed to personal preference? Because it's the propensity of if a trans masculine person who is essentially biologically female goes into the men's, they're taking a personal risk potentially by going into a male environment full of men, whereas the trans feminine people going into the sex space for females, they are themselves a male in a female environment. They are not the person who is at risk. The people who are at risk are the women who are in that same sex space. So that's the difference.
They're also putting themselves at risk by going in there, because they're opening themselves up to hate that they wouldn't have to experience if they have the confidence to be themselves, and there's other people out there who are telling them they can't do that. They open themselves up to risk by living as themselves every day.
Do you think that risk is in terms of their personal expression of gender, or is it based on their sex?
Could be both.
So if a trans feminine person went into a female bathroom, then do you think that all the women perceive that person as male or female?
Really, it depends. I think it depends on the opinions of the people in there, and it can also depend on how far along in a transition someone is. But from personal experience, once again, I've known many people who don't choose to go into the bathroom of their gender identity until they feel they're okay to do so, for the comfort of themselves and others.
Right.
However, I think they're all putting themselves at risk by going in there anyway. It's risk assessment across the board, and we shouldn't just be focusing on the risk of one side, we should focus on the risk of both sides.
I might ask you that question again because the motorcycle very rudely went across the back.
I get the wording good again.
Well, I think it was essentially trying to get the difference between trans mascs and trans femmes using bathrooms of what we'll describe as the opposite sex. So your argument is if someone is ahead in their transition, they are very femme presenting, that there should not be an issue if they use effectively the women's space.
No, I don't think there should be an issue.
Right, and how does that tally with the Supreme Court ruling that says single-sex spaces are for females and males, and people are tooting horns, with your interpretation that if someone is in their transition, then it's their gender as opposed to their sex. So what is your view on that ruling from the Supreme Court?
I think it's hypocritical. I think it counteracts itself.
In what way?
And well, in terms of trans men being advised that if they present as men to go into the men's toilets, but not the same for trans women. I think it should be risk assessed on both sides rather than just one, and I think it's very biased that it's only been perceived from one angle.
And how would you actually police that? How would you do an assessment on that? Would you say risk assessment? When you have statistics of, as I said before, the sexual assaults being 99% male, committed against females and also males, but the vast minority, not saying that women don't commit sexual offences, they do, but as a vastly disproportionate number to males. Do you think that those figures change once someone has gone through transition? Do you think it stays the same? Do you think that trans femmes are more or less likely to commit sexual assaults if they have transitions?
I can't speak on statistics of that since they haven't actually done a study on it, which...
I can give you some statistics. 60% of trans-identifying men are in prison for sexual offences. 60%. That's 3% of women and 17.9% of men.
60%?
60% of trans-identifying men, so that's, you would call it a trans woman, 60% of those are in prison for sexual offences.
60% of all of them in the entire country?
Of those that are in prison. In that entire 60% of those,
of ones that are in prison
are in for sexual offences.
What percentage of the prison population is trans women?
I don't know that figure. But
so it could be 60% of 10 people.
But that's still 60%. So what you're measuring is the propensity to be in jail.
We're looking at statistics of people who have been convicted of crimes, not statistics of the country as a whole.
I'm just saying.
That's 60%.
That's the fact. So
that's 60% of trans women in prison could be 0.2% of the entire population of trans women.
I could dig actually how many. It was I can't remember the exact figure. It was maybe up to somewhere around about high hundreds or thousands or 1,000.
Was that an organisation called Fair Play for Women did a subject access request, a freedom of information request.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Cheers. Thanks.
Which was trying to get statistics on how many of the offenders were actually being recorded as male or female, because part of the group that are standing behind me were sort of complaining about was that sexual assaults, and particularly sexual assaults against women and children, including paedophilia, were being recorded as female crimes as opposed to male crimes if the person had a gender identity that was feminine as opposed to being masculine, or traditionally what you call trans women.
What I'm assuming they're basing these studies on, in terms of men are more likely to sexually assault than women are, is that study based on hormones that person would have?
It wasn't a study, it was actual figures of who was incarcerated in the prison system at the time when they did the FOI. And what happened was the the Ministry of Justice didn't release figures, so they didn't give the full picture. They only released it for certain percentages of the prison system, and I think there was about 30 or 40% where they didn't release the figures. So Fair Play for Women did an interpolation and assumption based around the other figures of that this was the general prison population that was then identifying as trans, and the type of charges that they were in prison for. And it turned out that there was approximately sort of 14% of the male population were in prison for sexual offences, for including sort of paedophilia and offences against children, sexual assault and child sexual abuse images. When they looked at the trans population, it was 4 times higher than the national population for males. So what you had was a subgroup who were effectively committing offences against children and sexual offences, which was 4 times the rate of males. So it wasn't just high for what they would identify as their comparator population, which would be females, which was, I think, about 0.05% of the actual sort of incidences. It was actually 4 times the figures that it was for males. Now, when they actually got this presented as a report, they said, we don't have all the figures, so we've made a conservative estimate. And then finally, when the Ministry of Justice came in and said, we have to reevaluate these figures and this is all completely wrong, when they put their own figures in, the results were actually higher than the interpolation that was done by Fair Play for Women. Now, I know you're saying that trans femmes or trans women are a very small percentage of the population, but if their offending rate is 4 times higher than the male population, that is concerning when you're having them accessing female spaces, particularly when they're accessing prisons and women's refuges, where you have vulnerable women who have been sexually assaulted and who don't want to share spaces with males. So that's essentially the argument from the group.
I think if we're talking about rates of offending, then it also needs to be discussed how disproportionately people are reporting sexual offences. People are often scared to report a sexual
I'm loving
offence.
the mental gymnastics here. Go on.
Well, no, let us speak. So is there your argument that people are more likely to report offences from trans feminine people as opposed to males?
I believe there is.
What's that based on?
That's based on the fact that
no, where you have a view, which I'm taking at face value. So what has informed that opinion where you think you've got a view that people are reporting, or people are more likely to report these crimes?
People aren't reporting crimes at a higher percentage from people who identify as men. So that could be cisgender men then. People generally, there's many studies on disproportionate crime statistics based on reporting.
Okay, name one.
Name one? Yep. The government released one.
Which one?
If you search.
I haven't.
Oh, I can pull it up.
Please do. I'm just curious. I'm not trying to trick you. I want to know what your sources are, so that I can then ideally put a reference on the video and say, well, look, this is why. I'm more interested in finding out why you believe what you believe. Because I think it's important to have conversations about why there seems to be such a disparate position between what I think, or what you believe is to be a hate speech, which is trans women are men as a banner, which they believe is actually a reality of the situation, which is that they're not excluding trans femme people for being trans, they're excluding them for being male. That's their position. So it's important for their position to have the sex of men on the banner. Okay.
Men is...
Can I put that there? Is that right?
Yes. Being a man isn't a sex, it's a gender.
Based on what?
Based on the fact that if you say someone is male, that indicates their sex.
Yes.
But if someone's like, oh, I'm a man, that is how they've chosen to identify themselves. Would you say you're a man?
I think it's obvious from looking at me that I'm a man.
It's nice to ask though, isn't it?
Not really.
Would you say you're a man?
No, but nobody's ever asked to ask if I'm a man, because I obviously am one.
Would you say you are a man?
Well,
Yes or no?
what do you think? Looking at me, what would you?
I want to know.
What would you think looking at me? What would you think looking at me? I'm not that tall, I'll give you that.
Would you say that you're a man?
Well, you know the obvious answer to that.
No, please tell me.
Can you not tell by looking at me? Can you just look at me? Can you not tell by looking at me if I'm a man or not?
Anyone could have an intersex condition or
intersex.
be trans. You never
Okay,
know.
tell me about an intersex condition that you know of. Just name one.
XXY syndrome.
XXY. What's that called? It's 47. It's 47 XXY. What's it called?
Yeah, you say
Take
what
all the
it's called,
time you
know.
need. Yeah, it's called Klinefelter syndrome.
Yeah.
Who does it affect? Which sex does Klinefelter syndrome affect? Males. Okay, it's a male with an extra X chromosome. So XX. So generally, the traits of Klinefelter syndrome is a reduced amount of testosterone. Okay, maybe smaller testes, but they're still a man. Intersex is quite an old term, actually. Yeah, it's a disorder of sexual development, and there's about 40 of them. Name another one.
A lot of people identify with the term intersex.
Okay.
And I'd like to respect the people who would like to use that term.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's quite an old term, really. It's an umbrella term for various disorders of sexual development. There's about 40. You told me XXY. Okay. What's 53X?
53X.
53X syndrome. What's that?
That's not what the discussion's about.
That's another intersex question. Another intersex condition.
My point was to highlight that me asking you, "Are you a man?" is a very valid question.
Okay, right. So let me tell you something that you might not know. Okay, trans rights.
You're kind of struggling to answer the question.
Trans rights activists, okay, use intersex as a red herring, okay, to throw people off. People identifying as trans have nothing to do with intersex, okay? That's a really unfortunate condition that people are born with, but trans rights activists like to use that condition to throw people off the scent, all right?
However, there is a large overlap in the communities due to a lot of intersex individuals not identifying with the way they're born. There's a large overlap in the communities, and I think that needs to be addressed as well.
A large overlap of what?
A large overlap within the communities.
Of
intersex people who are also transgender.
That call themselves trans?
Yeah.
I've never come across one of
quite a few,
those.
actually.
All right. So the thing is, what trans rights activists do is they use intersex to say that there are more than two sexes, try and blur the boundaries. There are only two sexes, okay? And that is based on your reproductive structures within your body, what your body was designed to do, whether it works or not.
What would you say about people who have both reproductive?
Both reproductive. Tell me a condition where people have got both. Name one.
There's quite a few.
Okay, if there's quite a few, you'll be able to name one.
You see, I'm not an expert.
Okay,
in
well,
intersex
you're talking about it. I'm bringing it up, so you should know.
However,
do you want me to tell you one?
I still think you're struggling to answer my main question.
What, whether I'm a man or
Yeah.
not? Yeah, well, I've been on this planet 54 years, and it's only in recent days, recent months, when I speak to trans rights activists like you that question, are you a man or not?
Well,
You're the only people that throw it up.
Question, are you or not?
What? Well, I'll let you decide that. Okay, tell me an intersex condition where people have got ambiguous genitalia, which is the question you asked me.
Any of the intersex conditions can have ambiguous genitalia. It depends
No, they
on
can't.
how expressed
No, they can't.
those traits are.
So Klinefelter syndrome haven't got ambiguous genitalia. Okay, 5ARD.
Cases where they
What's 5ARD? 5. Yeah, that's an intersex condition, a disorder of sexual development, which Jermaine Khalif, the boxer, okay, in the Paris Olympics, and Caster Semenya, the middle distance runner, and the London 2012 Olympics had. They had this condition called 5ARD. Neither of them identified as trans, but they were both male competing in female sports. It's called 5-alpha reductase syndrome. You knew about that, right?
I did.
Did you? Okay, tell me the characteristics of it.
It's to do with hormone levels.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's not to do with, it's about a missing enzyme, it's a missing that enzyme which causes the production of dihydrotestosterone in the womb, okay, which forms male genitalia.
Yes.
You knew that, did you?
However,
you're nodding along after I've said it.
What would stop them playing in women's sport?
The fact that they're men.
Okay, but if they have that genitalia, but their hormones in their body.
They have ambiguous genitalia, often female looking.
ambiguous.
Yeah, but internally, okay, internally within the abdomen they have testicles. Okay, so come the age of 13, 14, they go through full male puberty. They get that testosterone rush, okay, and become males.
It doesn't actually seem like you know a lot about biology.
Well, you don't know nothing. I'm asking you about these questions. Why would you say that? Why would you say I don't know a lot about biology, but I'm telling you about an intersex condition?
That has a lot of grey areas in a very black and white way.
It's pretty, like what? Like people with 5 ARD and men, like Caster Semenya and Imaine Khalif.
It's right that Imaine Khalif won the female boxing gold at the Olympics.
Doesn't affect me.
Yeah,
It
but
affects women. It affects women who were in the boxing ring. The Italian competitor was punched in the face and left the ring after 37 seconds because she had never been hit that hard because she was fighting a male. So do you think that women who are in competitive combat sports should be allowed not to fight males who identify or have intersex conditions?
Well, if we're getting into that debate, then isn't that just the whole can women be as strong as men argument?
But women aren't as strong as men. That's why there are different categories for male and female. There's a huge difference in terms of the upper body strength of males and females, particularly in those sports such as boxing. It's 165% stronger weight for weight, height for height, pound for pound from a male athlete for a female athlete on the upper body strength and what's called the punching power. So in a sport like boxing, which is actually my sport, men hit 165% times, which is phenomenally different in terms of the female strength. And the damage that it can cause against women, it's not just a same bone structure. Men have a much higher bone density, so they can take impact a lot harder than women. They have a different Q angle on the hips, which means that when they're actually standing and they're taking impact and they're absorbing impact, it affects women an awful lot more by the same weight. So you could hit a man the same pressure that you're hitting a woman, and the woman will actually be more deformed by the actual physical pressure. So first of all, you're hitting harder as a man, and also the women who are impacting have less density in their bones, are much more likely to suffer damage. So it's not just an issue about saying, well, you know, women can be as strong as men. That's never been an issue. Men are physically stronger. Women should be allowed to compete in sports where they're not going to be killed by being punched in the head.
Then shouldn't the sports be, like the groups that people are fighting, be based on personal strength rather than...
Well, they do. In boxing, you have weight categories. So you have the heavyweight, super heavyweight, lightweight, bantamweight. There's about 15 different categories, and that's based around your actual body weight. But also within the sex, they appreciate that the males hit harder and have a different bone structure and a different density. So that's why they're categorized by sex. You have the two channels, male and female, and then you also have the categories, the weight categories within that, and also the different sort of sectors of...
Then, in that case, shouldn't a woman who may have higher bone density or maybe that level of strength, shouldn't they be competing against people who have that?
No, they should be competing against people in their own sex category in the same weight category. And if you want another analogy, the Paralympic Games have exactly the same process where they have a weighting system, grading system based around physical attributes and around disabilities. So there's a complete spectrum of the different sort of like different mitigations that you'll have if you're doing particular sports. So if you're doing running, then it's based around limb access, and each individual person is assessed as a separate own case, and they're given a particular grading, which is a kind of like a golf par as to what their mitigation is. Now that's across all of the Paralympics.
So if there's all these regulations, then wasn't it decided that these people could compete against women?
No, that's the Paralympics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So in the Paralympics, you don't have mixed sex competitions. You have the male competition, the female competition, and the mitigation against the particular sport depending on the disability. So if you have, like I say, so runners who have visual impairments, then there is different categories that they can compete in. So there's all of this situations that happen in sports, and that was actually broached to be the fundamental reasoning for having trans athletes compete at the Olympics. What they were using the model of the Paralympics and saying, look, they should be competing in the male category but have a different weighting system as per the Paralympics. But the trans athletes didn't want to do that. They wanted the validation of competing in the female category because they identified as female even though they were male. Now, women's rights groups, in particular Fair Play for Women, came to that argument and said, well, this is ridiculous because what you're doing is you're disadvantaging females from their own categories in sports. But not only that, you're presenting a physical health risk to competing against a male who is much stronger, because there was not these. When you're doing the boxing category, Emain Khalif was fighting, had a 6-7 inch advantage against the Italian competitor, as well as a weight advantage, as well as being male. So there was no remit where that was actually sort of a fair competition, where he was fighting against the female athletes. And as a consequence, there were 2 gold medals in boxing that went to male athletes with DSDs, which is, I think just mentioned, differences of sexual development, which meant that because they had been recorded on their application certificates as being not male, which is not the same thing as being female, they were then allowed to compete. And then the IOC, which is the International Olympic Committee, didn't take up an issue to then protect female sports. So then you had 2 males in the boxing, won gold medals in the female categories of the Olympics, and also injured all these women along the way. Do you think that's fair?
My question about that is...
Do you think it's fair?
I'll answer that in a second. My question to you right now is, if on these forms...
Why don't you answer the question?
Give me a second. If it says on those forms, for example, it says not male, but you're saying, oh, that doesn't mean they're female.
It didn't say not male, it was male or female.
Yes, and what did it say?
No, they put in that they were female, so that was technically fraud in the application process, but the International Committee didn't take action because of the internal lobbying of activists who then said, oh, but you can't do that because this person identifies as female. Now what that does is it immediately disenfranchises all the female sports athletes, because you then have a higher placement, even if you're disregarding the safety element, which I don't do, because obviously in a contact sport it's huge, but if a boxer who's male places anywhere higher, all the females in that group then get docked an entire place. So whoever was the 3rd position then becomes the 4th, etc. Now at the 2016 Olympic Games in 800 metre, where Caster Semenya won the gold medal, the 3 athletes who stood on the podium were all males with DSDs. There wasn't a single female athlete on the podium. So you had Caster Semenya, then Dutta, and then there was the 3rd athlete. And all the 3 women who then came in 4th, 5th and 6th would have been on the podium, would have won gold medals, which is not just the international praise, it's sponsorship deals, it's a lucrative career in brand endorsements and various other kind of things. They had their entire sports careers quashed because the IOC allowed males to compete in that sport. Now back to my original question, do you think that is fair?
I think that it should be based on strength and not on their gender identity.
Do you think that it's fair that 3 males took the gold medals at the 2016 Olympic Games from women?
I'm reluctant to say that they're males, if I'm being honest.
But they are males with DSDs. So the legality, the ruling, that's why Caster Semenya has not challenged the legal case. Caster Semenya took it to the International Arbitration Court in Brussels. And then that's why the International Boxing Federation and all of these sports organisations affiliated with the IOC then brought in sex testing as a result of this pressure from women's groups saying that it's unfair for males to compete in female sports. And Caster Semenya and Kamani Khalif have declined to participate because they have to do a sex test. And that sex test, particularly for Emain Khalif, those were disclosed from the Paris lab that did the sex test and said this person is male. And also prior to the Olympic Games in 2024, Emain Khalif and also Liu Yin, who was the Chinese boxer, were barred, they were demedalised because they'd been in the World Boxing Federation and had their medals stripped from them because they failed the sex test. They failed the gender test, what they call gender, at the World Boxing Federation. So they actually had their medals stripped, but because the policy was different in the IOC, it meant they could still compete even though they were males. And there you had the situation where you have 2 males who then won in the category of female. Do you think that's fair?
How do you feel about trans men competing
against
other men?
You said you answer the question.
No, I'm just curious. I'm actually just curious just to know the full stance on it.
I'll answer your question if you answer my question.
Do I think it's fair?
Do you think it's fair?
I think it's fair.
Why do you think it's fair?
I think it's fair that people compete in a category that they've been approved to compete in.
You're competing with a leaf blower, hang on. Hang on.
2 leaf blowers.
Hang on. I'm going to move slightly closer. I don't think it's going to be a little bit of difference.
Have you ever competed in any sports at all?
I have.
What do you compete in?
I'm a boulderer.
A Boulderer.
I do bouldering.
Oh, so you do climbing?
Oh, rock climbing.
Yeah.
She said rock climbing. Bouldering.
Bouldering. I'm not in a harness or anything.
Okay. So bouldering is like freestyle rock climbing.
Yes, there's competitions.
Okay, right. I understand that. So Philippa is a boulderer, not a rock climber. Okay. So is there a different? Do you realise that a different upper body strength between males and females in rock climbing, bouldering?
They tend to have mixed competitions as
Right.
well as set competitions. So people can choose whether to participate in one that is separated or they can compete in a mixed one, and there's a choice in that.
Okay, but they can choose.
Yeah, there's a choice in that.
And what is the National Federation? So what's the equivalent of bouldering as would be, say, the International Boxing Federation? What's your governing regulatory body in bouldering?
There isn't really a specific one, but they do compete in the Olympics.
Well,
But
so there will be a one for the Olympics?
There is one for the Olympics, but it's an Olympics-based one where people apply to it.
Right. So that's pretty much the same in every sport. So if you're going to compete in boxing at the Olympics, you'd have to go through the International Boxing Federation, and they do the sex testing, they do the blood testing for doping, all that kind of stuff, and then you then get through various rounds, and then you go off to the Olympics and compete. Okay.
For bouldering, there tends to be a mixed competition as well as separate.
Oh,
because
but they do both.
They do a whole range, and I think that's good because then people can decide which one they want to actually partake in.
Right. So who is the current winner of the mixed sex one?
The mixed sex one?
Yeah.
I didn't watch the last Olympics actually.
Yeah.
I saw a Nigerian competitor do like a weird twisting thing. Do you think there's sorry, talking things. In the bouldering, do you think there are any differences or any advantages to being male as opposed to female?
I think it can depend because it heavily depends on the person's strength. Again, but I've seen many people who identify as women bouldering, and this could be someone who was born as a woman.
Identify as women, or
well, it could be someone who's born as a woman, as women. It could be, and I've seen many that have way more upper body strength than someone who was born as a man. But it really depends on how people are using it in bouldering.
But
really
that's
depends.
one sport, and even then you're being very cagey about sort of saying born as a woman, born as a man, can do mixed sex, whatever. Are you saying that there is no difference in upper body strength in that sport between males and females?
Some people might find it easier.
Yeah.
Some people might find it harder. But then again, it can depend on many factors.
But again, that's a cop-out question by saying some
Not
people,
really.
and you're not giving. If I was being blunt, I would say you're being dishonest by withholding what you think is actually the case. I don't know anything about bouldering or rock climbing or anything like that. I've got no context for that. But do you see how that's not a combat sport?
Oh, I see your point. It's not a combat sport. I don't play any combat sports.
Okay.
Can I just ask one question here about the Olympics? I don't want to butt in too much. So you said it was fair, you eventually said it was fair that a man was competing against a woman. Can you name me one Olympic sport where a woman holds a higher record than a man? One Olympic sport.
As I said, I don't really watch the Olympics.
Okay, right. Do you want me to tell you one?
Oh, you can, yeah.
I can't because there isn't.
Yeah.
There is no Olympic sport where a woman has achieved a better or faster score, a faster time, a better score than a man in the Olympics. Not one single one.
I don't really think that's the fault of trans people, if I'm being honest.
No, well, I'm just pointing out the differences between the two biological sexes. Okay,
no one's denying that there's differences. It's how you go around the differences.
Yeah, but you said it's fair. You can't deny that there's differences and then say it's fair.
Because what you're doing is you're saying that it's fair because you have a moral reason for supporting the inclusion of trans femmes in the female sport, because it's fair to your idea of inclusion, but it's excluding all the women who are then competing in that sport.
My point was about how there should be a choice in if people.
But what if women haven't got that choice because it's automatically coming from the regulator that a main Khalif is fighting in the female category in boxing? The women who were competing didn't have a choice in that. The only choice they had was not to compete or to withdraw. So that's not a choice. They're not choosing to compete against males.
That's not their fault or anyone in that situation's fault that there wasn't a choice.
Yeah, so it's not a choice. You asked me a question about trans-masculine people before.
Yes.
What was it? Sorry, can you repeat it?
If a trans-masculine person is competing against men, do you have any issue with that?
I think that there is a there's a physical disparity between, obviously, even if a female is taking testosterone, that will cause muscle development, but it won't change the bone structure, it won't change the height, it won't change the limb length. So, for instance, there's an athlete.
You can change bone density though.
You what? Sorry?
You can change bone density.
It doesn't change.
There's been cases where it has changed bone density.
In females who've taken
testosterone for a long period of time?
No, it's actually the opposite. It causes osteoporosis. So you have huge cases.
It can do.
Well, no, it causes heart conditions and osteoporosis. You have young people who transition and then are on testosterone for sort of like 5, 10, 15 years, have much higher rates of actually limbs collapsing because of the testosterone essentially eats into the bones and they end up with osteoporosis. So it doesn't make it stronger, it actually has the opposite effect. It decalcifies the bones.
This is what I mean when I say people look at it in a very black and white way. Both of those can be outcomes.
But there's actually a physical process, there's a medical process that happens when you give testosterone to females, because even though there is a small amount of testosterone in the bodies, in terms of giving what is large doses of exogenous, which is sort of external to the body injections, that then causes problems with congenital heart failure and then osteoporosis. That's everywhere. That's not just like an optional thing that you can decide not to have osteoporosis.
No, you don't decide. You don't decide. But it doesn't happen to everyone.
It happens to the vast majority of people who have testosterone for a long period of time.
But it doesn't happen to everyone.
But you said that it didn't happen and it was actually
No, you see, I'm not about making sweeping generalisations about a whole group of people.
But you did say that it increases the bone density, so you've actually taken a position that is diametrically opposed.
It can do.
Give an example.
Give an example?
Yeah.
You can look at the...
I'm going to ask you your email and I will respond to your... If you send me literature, I will definitely look at it.
My signal's naff right now because we're in city centre, but I can give you my email.
But in terms of transmasculines competing against men, if they wish to do that, that is their prerogative to do that. And there's a young athlete in America who's part of the college wrestling circuit called Mac Beggs. Have you heard of Mac?
I have, yes, in Texas.
Yeah, so a young trans-masked person from the age of about 14, 15 was on testosterone for transition for a very young age and wanted to compete on the boys team in high school and couldn't because of the regulations of the school, so was then competing against a female, and then effectively because they were doping, that's what is then classified in sport. If you're taking extraneous testosterone, you're considered to be doping. That was then giving Mac Beggs a huge advantage against the female competitors because even though they were sort of comparable in terms of size, had much more developed muscle, had much more increased aggression, which is something that is not really talked about in terms of the trans mass population. But then it wasn't actually through Beggs' fault because they wanted to commit to the male contenders, and it was actually the schools that were preventing that. I have no issue with Mac Beggs competing against men. Absolutely none whatsoever. I think that there will be at a physical disadvantage, but if they want to do that, that's their prerogative. But if you're talking about trans femmes competing against women, that is not their prerogative because it's the people who are competing against them that need to worry about.
If we're talking about the safety of everyone involved, then you can't pick and choose your stance on it.
Yes, you can.
not if your argument is safety.
No, you're saying that it's a symmetrical argument. You're saying that if trans masks can compete against men,
I'm saying
that's exactly what you said.
I'm saying that if you're valuing the safety of the people competing, then you can't pick and choose which categories people can compete in.
Well, yes.
So your stance is, as I gather from what you're saying, trans women shouldn't compete against other women for the safety and advancement of those other women.
Correct.
But trans men can compete against other men even though they might be in danger if they do that.
Yes.
So you're picking and choosing people's
safety?
No,
what you're saying is that if someone wants to put their own safety at risk, they can do that. Trans femmes are not putting their own safety at risk, they're putting other people's safety at risk. If I wanted to put my safety at risk and I want to dance out in the middle of traffic, that's my prerogative. But it's not my prerogative to then push you out into traffic and say, well, look, it's symmetric, I believe that someone should be pushed. That's the difference. It's not about what you describe as a symmetrical argument. It's a risk assessment on the people that the person is interacting with. If Mac Beggs chooses to fight physical combat with males who are bigger and stronger than Mac in the male competition, entirely their prerogative. If the same trans femme wants to compete in a wrestling competition with females, Absolutely not, because it's not their prerogative to do that. It's a prerogative for women who are then fighting a much stronger male who identifies as female. That's the difference. Your argument is kind of like well, you're doing it for the trans mass, therefore you can do the same for the trans femme. The difference is you have a huge discrepancy between the body dynamics and the impact that you can cause to someone. So for instance, there was about 2014, there was a ex-Navy fighter who fathered 3 children. It's called Fallon Fox, and then decided at about the age of 20, 34, something like that, that they wanted to transition, entirely their prerogative. But then started fighting in the MMA sector in the United States against females and didn't tell them that this person was male. Now, the difference you have is females were in a combat situation with someone who had male strength, even if they stop taking, or they take estrogen, it doesn't counteract the testosterone that's in the system, and it certainly doesn't remove the strength. There's been reports on this, that there was a 10-year study that even after, and these were done on doping systems, so there was like 10,000 population, it's all about the Olympic sports. You don't remove the testosterone advantage, even if you then put estrogen on there. All it does is sort of change some of the external sexual characteristics, such as your skin softness and everything else. It doesn't change the strength.
Do you think it would be fair if someone has been on estrogen for say 20 years? Would you say it was a fair competition if they competed against men?
Someone who has been on estrogen?
Yes.
So someone who is someone who's male who has taken estrogen, and they're competing against men. That's entirely their prerogative. Do you think it was fair? It's entirely their business. Someone who is male, who is on estrogen, choosing to compete against males, that's their business.
But would it be fair?
It's up to them. It's their business.
Can I add to your story of Fallon Fox? So his male name was Boyd Burton, and he had, one actual bout that he had was against a woman called Tamika Brents, who was a real strong woman. She was she was an outlier as far as women are concerned in how strong and powerful she was. She fought Boyd Burton, Fallon Fox, and in the first round, he kneed her in the face and broke the orbital bone in her skull. So broke Tamika Brent's skull. Tamika Brent didn't know she was fighting a man, all right? Do you think that's fair?
I think people should be aware of what they're entering into.
She didn't.
So the promoter lied, Fallon Fox lied, and Tamika Banks only found out afterwards when getting surgery on an orbital fracture, which means that the entire skull was shattered.
Oh yeah.
Because she was in a fight with a male, and the promoter of the event didn't say, and Fallon Fox didn't say, just joined as a female, and no one questioned it, and no one even did any due diligence to sort of check if this person was actually male or female.
In contact sports, isn't injury a risk anyway?
That's a really shitty cop-out.
I'm genuine question. Is there risk assessments for that anyway?
There is, but you know that you're fighting in sex-based sex-based categories, and you take that risk based on that. She was fighting a male. Do you think that's fair though? Would you condemn that?
Condemn it? What do you mean by condemn it?
Say that it's wrong for Fallon Fox, a man, to be fighting a woman and beating her up in the ring.
Without disclosing that they were male?
I think it's completely fair.
There you have it. There you have it, guys. There you have it. The brainwashed Generation Z.
Why is it completely fair?
How do you know how old I am?
Oh, because I have perception.
Oh, you
I've lived on this planet for 53 years. So you're Generation Z. Tell me I'm wrong.
What generation are you?
I'm Generation X.
How old are you?
I've just told you, 54.
You're 54. Oh, you're younger than my dad.
Right. Okay.
So if your dad's 56, then you've got to be. Yeah, I think.
So he has you late in life. You're Generation Z. You're not a millennial. You're too young.
Oh, my sister's a millennial.
Okay. Well, what are you?
Can you guess?
Yeah, Generation Z. I did.
How do you know?
Because I can perceive things, and I'm right. You're just being elusive.
Ah. Are you a man though?
Let me just ask you a few basic questions.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Can a woman have a penis?
Yes.
Okay. Can a man get pregnant?
Yes.
Okay. If a man has a baby and it's through natural childbirth, where does the baby come out?
Vagina.
Through his vagina?
Yes.
There you go, guys. There you go. This is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one, right?
By what I said.
Okay, trans rights are human rights.
Yes, they are.
What rights do trans-identifying people don't not have that I have? What rights don't they have?
I'm here counter-protesting, so those rights don't get taken away.
That's not answering the question.
I don't believe anyone's human rights should be taken away, and that's why I'm here.
Trans rights are human rights. What rights don't they have? Who's trying to take them away?
In many countries, trans people don't have rights.
What about the UK?
Yeah, we're in the UK now.
And I'm here to protest if they could get taken away.
So they haven't been taken away?
Not yet, no.
So
it's definitely a risk, isn't it?
I don't think so, because I think that what was very clear about the Supreme Court ruling was that they were absolutely explicit that the gender reassignment, not gender as you mentioned before, was completely separate and was protected. So whatever happens, that is from discrimination. So what you're doing is it's a completely separate stream. It's a protected characteristic along with sex,
and they're not
along with
cracking
race.
down, and they're not cracking down on hate crime.
But you're calling a post a hate crime.
Is this a hate crime?
Is any hate speech?
Is this hate speech
against a protected characteristic?
Is that hate speech?
Yeah.
What is autogynephilia? That's what it says. That's the question on the bottom.
Oh, you got all the buzzwords.
What is it? Yeah, no. What is it? I genuinely want to know do you know what it is? You don't have to.
I do. It's the word that people are using to describe trans women because they want to transition.
What does it mean? What does auto mean?
Auto's like self.
Self. So what is gyne?
Like gynecology.
So female.
Genitalia.
So self, female, and philia is love. So it's self, female, loving. What it is a medical or clinical condition where a man is sexually aroused by the idea of himself as being female. There is an equivalent sort of auto-androphilia in which trans mass people identify or aroused by the idea of themselves as being male, but it's far less prevalent. So it's not, when you're saying it's something that they use for describing trans women.
You're using it to describe, you're using that term to describe trans women.
Who are men?
When you're not taking into account the fact that what sexual arousal from wanting to be women.
Sexual arousal, yeah. When they get a euphoria boner for going in female spaces. That's the term that they use themselves. Just get an X account and have a look and listen to these.
I've got an X account.
Well, listen to these.
Blue Sky? No social media at all?
Oh no, I've got X.
Oh, you are?
X, not Blue
and
Sky.
Instagram.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, from my standpoint, that this ideology is being pushed by misogynistic autogynephiles, and you're protecting them.
Hell yeah, I am.
Pardon?
Hell yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Why?
So you're protecting, a male, predatory males with a paraphilia who get off by going into female spaces and getting a euphoria boner and frightening these women.
Trans women.
Yeah, which are men.
That's your opinion.
Predominantly autogynephiles.
That's your opinion.
Why are there not more people here who are representing trans mass people?
Because the argument wasn't about trans mass people. That's probably why.
But do you know who Rose is in terms of the court case? Yeah, so who is Rose as far as you're concerned? Is Rose a hero or is Rose a...
I'm here to counter-protest these, yes?
Yeah, but they're here not just for standing for the good of their benefit.
I'm here for general trans rights.
Okay,
right?
But I'm asking about
But there's
Rose.
people stood here with these signs.
Me, I'm the only one stood here with this. Just me.
Obviously the argument is going to be we're talking about trans women because this is what
That's men.
But
that's talking about.
that's the
your
tune of the
opinion.
case. That's what they're here for. In terms of the nurses, do you know anything about the legal case that's happening? That's why they're all standing here.
Bits and pieces.
What's your view on that? So who is actually in the tribunal? So you're here protesting the people who are here because they're protesting what's happening in the court case. So you don't seem to be familiar with what's actually happening in the legal side.
I'm counter-protesting the opinion that trans women are men.
So you're not even here to do with the court case, you're just here because women are standing and advocating for what they say single-sex spaces, and you're here going, trans rights are human rights.
Yes.
Do you think a young girl, I don't know, 13-year-old, should be forced to shower next to a male pure naked in a changing room purely because he identifies as female.
I don't think anyone should have to shower in front of anyone.
Well,
Being honest.
well, this ideology allows that because it allows men into those spaces.
I don't think anyone should
Not
have
even
to shower in
showering.
front of anyone.
Okay, just to be naked. Just to be naked in the changing room. Is it okay for a man?
Shouldn't people be able to have cubicles to get changed separately if they wish to?
Yeah, but not all places do that allow men into them.
No, but maybe if that's the problem, then maybe they should instead of.
Well,
policing.
that would be.
What they started doing since the Supreme Court ruling is a lot of the changing facilities, particularly like leisure centres and gyms and everything else. They've turned all of the what used to be male and female sectors into what's called changing villages, which is now communal mixed-sex spaces. So you've got mothers going in there with kids and children who are being changed in a semi-naked state next to young men or old men and everything else. Do you think that's reasonable based on?
Do they have cubicles in those?
I think some of them do, but essentially they've separated them so there's no difference in the toilets as well, so it's just one single bag.
If there's cubicles, I don't see a problem.
What if there's not?
Then maybe they should have some cubicles.
Yeah, but what if there's not? What do those women do?
What if there's no cubicles?
Yeah.
If they're comfortable, they can go in. If they're not comfortable, they can leave.
So women need to be excluded from those places because of men going in there.
Women who aren't comfortable don't have to do what they don't want to do.
Yeah, but they want to use the facilities, the leisure facilities.
Then maybe the issue is with the leisure centre not being accommodating to everyone.
Well, currently the state that it's in, that it should be accommodating for everybody. There should be a female-only space. But what this ideology does is allow men into that female-only space because they say that because they're conflating gender with sex.
I'd happily go into a changing room if a trans woman was in there.
But you realise that consent is not transferable. So what you would do is not to say what other women would do.
If someone doesn't want to, they don't have to.
What about women from a cultural background where they are not permitted to mix with males? So, for instance, we had lots of cases where women who were using leisure centres, who were attending things like single-sex swimming sessions, who were from either particularly sort of Islamic communities or Bangladeshi communities where they were not permitted to be in male presence. They had men, what you would describe as trans women, trans femmes, attending those sessions, which meant that if word got back to the family of these women, that they would then be barred from those events. So the women stopped attending those sessions just because a male decided he wanted the validation of attending that women-based or women's single-sex event.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Oh, you're watching? All right. Thank you. Yeah.
And do you think that's fair on those women who are already having what you might describe as like cultural and sexual barriers to attend in the first place, that they then were no longer permitted to go to those single-sex spaces because they were becoming mixed-sex by just one person self-identifying? Do you think that's fair or reasonable? Because I don't. I think that's really awful.
I think spaces should be made inclusive for everyone.
But who's everyone when you've got a single-sex space for women? Yeah, right, okay. Yes, we'll do. I think they're coming out soon. I'm going to grab your email because I want you to send me some stuff.
Yes, I will.
Or I will put my email in the back of your thingy, and then you can choose whether or not you send me some stuff. But
Thank you so much for your time and being honest with us.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, where are you from?
Pardon?
Your accent's like real familiar.
Stockport, which is South Manchester. Do you go to the university here?
I
do. You do? Do you attend? Do you have gender studies as part of your course?
Not my course.
Okay.
But I do very heavily. My course does focus on a lot of biology.
A lot of biology. And what does it say about men and women?
What does it say about men and women? Well, there's two different definitions that we can go into there.
Right.
If that's what interests you. You can either talk about someone's chromosomes.
Yeah.
Or you can talk about hormone levels. Or you can talk about how someone self-identifies.
Right.
And that's very accepted within the science community as a whole.
Yeah, well the thing is the institutions have been corrupted. Yeah. Critical theory, you do postmodernism, critical theory, queer theory. They teach all that as well. You're smiling.
No. I go to uni to learn.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing.
What are you studying? So is it biology?
Forensic science. But with my dissertation's on facial reconstruction.
Ah, so can you tell the difference between male and females in terms of facial reconstruction?
Sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's ambiguous.
What do you think about, was it Professor Alice Lowe who said that you can't tell a skeleton was male or female?
It depends on a lot of factors and sometimes you can't.
On a perfectly preserved skeleton, can you tell if it's male or female?
Not always. Not
by doing
particularly.
by doing a chromosome test, a bone test?
A lot of the time on bones, you can't do chromosome testing because a lot of the DNA is that degraded.
But I talked about a pristine
skeleton.
A theoretical
So,
pristine skeleton.
How long has the skeleton been there?
5 minutes. Just found it. Yeah.
5 minutes.
I just pushed him in front of a bus. You want to go and check out if it's female?
No, but if we're talking about just the skeleton, so there's no flesh on it, like it's the skeleton.
Yeah.
Go for it. Yeah.
How long has this person been dead?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, and it's just a skeleton.
Yeah.
How did
It's
they
gone
get rid
through
of
a
the flesh?
blender. And it's
How did they get rid of the flesh?
Piranhas.
Piranhas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Piranhas?
Hypothetically, yeah. They've removed all the
There would
flesh.
still be some flesh on there
Yeah,
to be able to test.
but could they, by testing the bones, tell?
By testing just the bones?
Yeah.
Not always, because it might be
What
degraded.
is the percentage of not always? So give me a percentage on that.
There hasn't been any studies done on it. There's cases where they're like, hey, we found these bones.
Give me an email.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you to do it on camera.
I can send you stuff about the bone thing as well.
Please do. Oh, thank you, love. Yes.
That type.
Nice nails.
Thank you.
Just reaffirming my assertion that this is a long march through the institutions where they poison the minds of young people in universities like this over the road.
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah.
Your mind has been corrupted by institutions like this. And you can't...
Institutions like this?
Yes.
They haven't said anything about this.
Yeah. Pardon? No, I'm saying that. Oh, when I talk about institutions like this, I'm talking about all the universities. All the universities across the Western world are corrupting young people's minds. It's a long march through the institutions. All right. It's a political strategy to fundamentally change society without a revolution and spilling blood. What you do is you get to the institutions first. It's the same playbook which has been played by Mao's Red Guards in the Great Leap Forward. All right, it's the same that's been played by Pol Pot's Khmer Rouge, so the Hitler Youth. What you do, that it's just the ideology is exactly the same. The ideology is absolutely the same. You get to the youth, you corrupt the minds, and then they disrupt society.
I think it's a bit anti-intellectualism.
Okay, well, it's quite plain and simple. I'm glad that we had this conversation. You're a perfect example of it.
I disagree with you, but I'm glad we had a chat.
Yeah.
You were very respectful to talk to. Thank you.
Okay. Unlike
You're
me.
something else.
Unlike me.
You're something else
Yeah, well,
entirely.
do you know what? I've got a little bit tired of it. I've got a little bit tired of it now, you know. So I speak a little bit blunt, a bit more bluntly now. I used to do the mental gymnastics a little bit by not wanting to offend people, but now I don't really care because
it's okay. You don't have to talk to me.
Because I know I don't. But basically, you're supporting the sterilisation and mutilation of children.
How?
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to give you examples? Do you want me to give you?
In the UK can't actually start on hormone therapy unless it's for a condition that they've been diagnosed with.
You're saying children cannot start on hormone therapy?
They can go on hormone blockers, which have no lasting effects and are completely reversible.
Yeah, but 99% of the children that go on to puberty blockers also go on to take cross-sex hormones.
That's probably because they're trans.
Pardon? No, it's because they've been affirmed. It's the first step on the affirmation of their delusion. Okay, so when you combine puberty blockers with cross-sex hormones, okay, it stifles the child's development into an adult. It renders them, their sexual dysfunction. All right, so some of these children that's never experienced an orgasm will never go on to experience an orgasm.
What's the problem? Why are you so worried about children orgasming?
But the young children whose sexual future that they know nothing about, okay, is going to get compromised. They're too young.
Why are you so worried about
I know what
orgasm?
I know what you're trying to do. What you're trying to do is saying I've got an unhealthy interest in children.
I'm making a point.
Yeah, because a sexual relation when you're an adult with a loving partner is one of the best things that I could imagine. I'm in a loving relationship with my wife, okay? Yeah. That would have been taken away from me if somebody had put me on puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones as a child when I knew nothing about that.
Yeah, but you didn't need to because you're not trans.
Pardon? Well, there's no such thing as trans. There's males and females.
There really clearly is such a thing as being trans because there's so many.
Pardon? There's so many people that have had their minds poisoned.
Well, how do you account for all the trans people who haven't ever been on hormones?
Pardon?
How do you account for the trans people who haven't ever been on hormones and haven't had access to that?
What trans people are? I'm just
many trans people.
Yeah.
The wait list is very long.
Well, you can identify as anything that you want, right? It doesn't make you that thing. That's my point.
So if you can identify as anything you want,
Yeah, doesn't make
do
you
you
it.
identify as a man?
Well, I am a man. You know that.
Yeah. Well, no. This is the first time you've said.
Yeah. Well, it's quite obvious, isn't it?
Well, it might not be.
To who?
No, but you never know. It's nice to ask.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, I've lived on this planet 54 years, almost as long as your dad. I know what a woman looks like, and I know what a man looks like, and most people do. It's all grounded in biological reality.
Yeah,
your ideology is grounded in subjective identity, okay?
Yeah, but what's funny about that is you can't just look at someone on the street and go, yeah, I know what's in their pants. You
Right.
don't. You never know.
Well, they could have been affirmed in this delusion and be castrated like somebody like from Newcastle. Are you aware of a young man called Richie Herron?
No, tell me.
Right. You said you're on X.
I'm not originally from Newcastle.
Okay, you said you're. Yeah, I can tell by the accent actually. You said you're on X. All right. He goes by the handle, I think, of Richie Tulip.
Okay.
All right. He was a confused young man. All right. He had internalized homophobia. Right.
Yes.
He was a gay man, a gay young boy, grew up into a man, and he could imagine himself with another man if he identified as a woman, but not as a man. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. We're talking about
So
detransition rates, right?
I'm going to tell you about his case. So Richie Herron, and this was as an adult. As an adult, he went and had surgery. Okay, he had a number of sessions of psychotherapy. They affirmed his delusion. Okay, they went and castrated him. Immediately, he realised it was the wrong thing. You know,
and that's very sad for him.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's
tell
very
me
sad he
the
had to go through that.
detransition rate's 1% or less.
Well, that's what I
There's
was
no.
going to say.
I know you was because it comes up all the
There's a very
time.
low detransition rate.
Right, there are no figures or studies whatsoever on detransition rates. All right, none at all. Right, and you probably go say, oh, there's more regret for people. There's more regret for people that have knee surgery. Was that going to be your next one?
No, I was going to say, what would you say about the fact that the suicide rate of trans people goes down post-transition?
The suicide. Okay, which study shows that?
The most recent one.
Which is what? Which is what? All right, I'll tell you that there's been, I think, 2 or 3 studies, a Finnish study, a Swedish study, and a UK study. The UK study was based on evidence from the Tavistock Clinic. The suicide rate goes up to 19% higher after transition. The suicide rate for trans-identifying people is very low, and it's similar, okay, to people with other mental health comorbidities. But after transition, it goes up by 19%. And what I will say is the highest rate of suicide, the cohort with the highest rate of suicide in the UK is men my age, 45 to 54.
And I do think things need to be done about that. There
Okay.
should be more awareness for men's mental health.
You just brought up the trans suicide myth.
Yes. Right.
Use that all the time, and it's.
Do we not think that this suicide rate could be caused by hate crime, perception of trans people, and the horrendous wait times?
All the hate crime. The suicide rate is no higher for people who identify as trans than those who have other mental health comorbidities.
So should we not care about all of these and try and reduce it?
It's very, very low. Yeah, you should. What you should do is you should get to the root cause of their so-called gender dysphoria. It used to be called gender identity disorder. They changed the trans rights lobbyists from WPATH. Okay, changed it to dysphoria, so it wasn't associated as a pathology.
Sorry.
But it really is. It's a mental health condition.
It's still seen as a diagnostic criteria. Did you know that?
It's in the DSM-5.
It is in the DSM-5.
Yeah, as dysphoria. They changed it from the DSM. I think it was the DSM-3 onwards. I'm not quite sure. All right, but it was the activists from WPATH, the World Professional Association of Transgender Health, a bunch of activists. All right, they got it changed in the DSM-5 so what it did, it made this idea of being trans normal and not a pathology. Do you know why they kept it in there?
If there's such a high amount of people who identify as transgender,
but there isn't. You'll tell me it's less than 1% of the population.
Is it really? Or is
You'll tell me that. I don't know. That's what I'm told.
To say they're transgender?
That's what I'm told. Oh, is it more acceptable of people being trans now, or less acceptable?
I think it's more acceptable now.
Is it?
However,
So why do they all have to fear coming out of the house and fear that they're persecuted if it's more acceptable?
because hate
You
crime,
can't have it both.
Because hate crime is higher again than it was last year.
Yeah. Okay, tell me how many trans people have been murdered for being trans in this country?
Do you know how many?
Well, I know of one case, but it wasn't just the fact that they were trans. It was two really evil young men that went out to target somebody from the LGBTQ community, just so happened to be trans. But this idea of
Quite a bit.
this idea of a transgender, she's called Brianna. I think it was Brianna Gay. Yeah. And how many murders
She was
are?
killed in a transphobic hate crime.
Well, that's what they say. It was two. Yeah, it was two really evil bastards, right, that went out and did that. You can't condone any of that. But this idea of there being a trans genocide, it's a complete fallacy. Absolutely.
Have you ever witnessed any LGBT hate crime?
Any
Just
LGBT?
out and about.
Well, apparently every time I go out wearing these, it's a hate crime.
Have you ever witnessed any just on the streets of Newcastle?
It's the first time I've ever been to Newcastle.
Is it? Are you enjoying
No,
it?
actually,
Are you enjoying Newcastle?
I think it might be the second. I came when I was in the Royal Navy to the Whitley Bay many years ago, in the 90s, I think it was.
You see, I'm
No.
I don't live in, I'm not from Newcastle, but I'm not new to it.
Right.
My grandma's a Geordie.
Right. Okay.
I know the area.
Yeah.
I've lived here for 3 years now.
Right.
I've seen it. I've seen
Okay.
it firsthand.
Tell me about it. Tell me about a case. Tell me about a case.
Of LGBT hate crime?
Yeah.
A case?
Yeah.
Do you want my personal experience or a case?
Yeah, go for it.
I've had assault shouted. I've had abuse shouted at me in the streets.
Right. For what?
Because I'm a lesbian.
Right. Do you know that this is an anti-lesbian agenda? Trans agenda is anti-lesbian.
No, it isn't.
Okay. So what would you say then to all these young girls going into the Tavistock clinic, okay, that didn't fit the social stereotype of being a girl? So maybe they like to play football, all right, climb trees. They might have had older brothers, and they said, "I want to be a boy." What do you think that the clinicians said to those young girls?
I think if someone wants to explore that part of themselves, they're allowed to. I don't.
Yeah, I know, but
I don't fit
they
the
went to the
traditional stereotype of what people see as a woman. However, that doesn't mean that I'm trans. If someone goes out of their way to go and explore that part of them, who am I to tell them not to?
No, they shouldn't. They should be left to explore that. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened at the Tavistock clinic. This is one of the reasons it got closed down. Because you know what they said to those young lesbians? Well, do you know what? Maybe you're not a girl. Maybe you were born wrong. Maybe you were born in the wrong body. Maybe you're a boy. Yeah.
They might be trans men.
Or maybe they were just lesbians. But as a young kid, they went in there and they said, "You were born wrong. Here you go. Take these puberty blockers and take these cross-sex hormones." Yeah, they should have been left to grow up and become adults and then make a decision when they're adults, but they didn't do that.
If they were seeking help for how they felt, they have the right to do that.
Yeah, but they were told as a young kid, you listen to clinicians in white coats because you don't know any better. You listen to your teachers, and they were told by these, this is why I'm telling you, it's an anti-lesbian agenda, an anti-gay agenda, because they told those young women that would have grown up to be happy, healthy lesbians, you were born wrong. Just like Kira Bell. You know the case of Kira Bell? She was put, well, you know the case then. She was mainly responsible for the closing down of the Tavistock clinic. She suffered a lot of sexual trauma as well. But what they're saying to these young girls is, you were born wrong, you're not a lesbian, you're a boy. So they're eradicating all the lesbians, they're eradicating all the gay boys.
There needs to be more dedicated to mental health in general.
They should be.
Because if there was more dedicated to it, they'd be able to distinguish between these different issues.
But guess what?
Right?
Guess what? So the psycho, I can't remember the name of the regulator from psychotherapies, but all these clinicians, they were told that they had to affirm a child's gender dysphoria. Okay, if they didn't, it would be considered conversion therapy.
Yes.
So you can't have it both ways. You just said there should be more understanding and more therapy.
I'm not saying there should be more therapy. I'm saying that there should be more awareness brought into that area. There should be more funding towards mental health treatment.
Yeah, but the treatment is just affirming the delusion.
Not necessarily to just trans people.
They need to say.
There needs to
well,
be
we're talking
training
about
on
just
how-
trans people, aren't we?
There needs to be training on how to handle specific scenarios.
Yeah, but there was no training with the clinicians when it comes to trans. It was, if a child comes to you, okay, with these ideas, which they often received online through social media, that they were born in the wrong body, you can't say, okay, let's have a chat, let's have a look what else is going in your life, what other problems have you got, because that would would be classed as conversion therapy. I've spoken to these clinicians.
If someone attends therapy as someone with, like, if someone has gender dysphoria and they attend therapy for this, they are allowed to discuss what could have potentially caused that and why they may feel that way. But if someone goes into a gender clinic and says, I am a trans woman, I am a trans man, whatever, they can't turn around and go, no you're not.
They can't turn around and ask them what else is going on because it's classed as conversion therapy.
Yeah, why would they need to ask what else is going on?
To work out why. To look at what other traumas they've got on.
The gender clinic aren't therapists.
Yeah.
They are not therapists of these
They're
people.
psychotherapists. They are, the clinicians are psychotherapists trained.
A gender clinic,
Yeah.
they have people that are experts in transgender identities, and it's
Right.
there's such a long wait list. Why would someone be on a wait list for that long?
Well, because all the evidence from the systematic review said that there was very weak evidence and little to no benefit on giving puberty blockers. Very weak evidence to show that this so-called gender affirming care worked. All it did was cause harm.
Puberty blockers don't cause any long-term effects once you've come off them.
Puberty blockers, 99%, we've been through this argument, 99% of the children that went on puberty blockers went on to cross-sex hormones. So you can't, and that then led, and this has been confirmed by Marcy Bowers, who was the president of the World Professional Association of Transgender Health. He said, these kids don't even know what an orgasm is, and we're stopping them from their future sexual pleasure. That was Marcy Bowers from the World Professional Association of Transgender Health. That's a man identifying as a woman.
Transgender people can orgasm.
Pardon?
Transgender people can orgasm.
Not kids that were put on puberty blockers before puberty, okay, and cross-sex hormones.
Do they need to orgasm before puberty?
No, I'm talking about afterwards. They were put on puberty blockers. Cross-sex hormones, all right, and they become sterile for life.
And they don't become sterile for life. I think a transgender person would rather be happy in their body than orgasm.
I can attest to that.
You can attest to that, right? You come and join us if you want. Come and say hello. Come on.
What exactly is the edge of the matrix? What is
Come and join us. What's your name?
What is that? My name is Jess. Hello.
Nice
everyone.
one, Jess. Okay.
Yeah, no. What is the edge of the matrix?
Stick it into YouTube and you'll find out.
Oh,
stick it into X. That's the handle that I use. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thank you, mate.
This was actually
appreciate
a
it.
for the matrix.
Dean. Come in, Dean.
I'm Phil.
I thought you were promoting the Matrix actually for a minute.
No.
I thought that was the new tagline.
Yeah, I'm loving the trans
Okay,
flag.
you were wrong.
Yeah, no, I also I love representing the trans flag. I love
thank
what
you.
you do.
We're kind of matching right now.
Yeah, no, I really like the flag. The flag's really good. Yeah, positivity.
I don't think he's actually represent the trans flag.
Yeah.
It's pulling the colours off a bit though.
Yeah, it is.
It's also the wrong way round.
It gathers attention of the people.
10 for effort.
Oh yeah.
It gathers attention of the people that I want to speak to about this, because I go up and down the country having conversations like this with people, and they're mainly respectful, and thank you very much for such a respectful conversation. Doesn't often go down that well.
To be fair, if someone's angry, let them be angry.
Yeah.
I'd be angry too.
Can I ask what are you sort of trying to say? Like trans people haven't got the same rights as people with.
I'm saying they should maintain the same rights as everyone else.
They should be
Well,
treated
do
like
they not?
humans, man.
Yeah.
All right.
We're all humans at the end of the day. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What
Well, exactly. I didn't realise that. Yeah.
But it does matter if males cross into female sex-based boundaries,
You know,
doesn't
there's
it?
actually no rules stopping people from going in the bathrooms, man. You can just go.
Well, there are rules.
There on women, though,
There are rules stopping men going into women's bathrooms.
I'd happily go into
Pardon?
a bathroom if a trans woman was in there.
Yeah, but men don't belong in female bathrooms.
Would you go in? Would you get undressed
Pardon?
with me?
Yeah, but you would be breaking the law.
Would you get undressed? Would you feel comfortable?
Yeah, but men should. Why would a man want to go into a female space?
And you stepping naked?
You tell me.
I wouldn't really care.
Well, I'm asking you the question.
Well, that's maybe
Yeah,
your
but
personal
I don't
preference, but I think.
I have an answer.
You have an answer. Go on then. If you've got an answer, tell me. Don't be afraid of telling me what you believe.
Your women would feel uncomfortable getting like undressed in front of a man. I mean, I would feel uncomfortable getting undressed in front of a woman.
Yeah.
To be quite honest.
Why would they want to do it?
And that's, you know.
Okay with a man dressing in front of a woman?
I'm okay with being in the same changing room as trans women if that's the question.
See, you got
A trans woman's a man, by the way.
So you got to stand. Did you go out and buy one?
I went back to the hotel. I left it in there. Yeah.
No, are you in the former in Newcastle?
Yeah.
Actually. I know Gay Society's having a meeting on in like 2 p.m.
How many people got watching? We've got 372. Not bad. Not bad.
If you want to go.
Yeah. See, we talked about this before, and there are no rights that trans identifying people don't have what other people have. None at all.
Identifying. Good.
Yeah.
What about teaching? What about teaching this stuff in schools? That's a bit. I have an issue with that.
That's how they
In
get.
fact, I have a massive issue with my son's school at this moment in time.
I don't think they should teach about World War II.
Do you have the same opinion in terms of
it's not okay to
teaching
teach
about
kids
gay people
about
in
people's
schools?
lives? You know, that's not okay. You can't expose children.
So they should be able to learn about.
What's that got to do with the trans argument?
Yes, but
no, it's just
I think it's what's age appropriate. It's 10 years old. I don't think they should be learning about. I question if they should be learning about wet dreams, and men can be women and women can be men at 10 years old, because at that age,
I think any education should be made age appropriate.
At 10 years old.
So
I came out 10 years ago.
Right, but
I
at
came out
10 years old,
I was young when I came out. Right?
Not to do with fucking media either.
I think any type of education.
It's nothing to do with social media, is it? Not at all. No way.
That's your opinion. My opinion is, at 10 years old, when you're still sort of trying to find your feet as a youngster and stuff like that, and you're trying to, you're exploring that, well, not even exploring, but you're still trying to find your feet, and to be told that a woman can be a man and a man can be a woman can add to the confusion. They can affirm, like teachers, for example, can affirm children's confusion, and I say it's indoctrination and it's child abuse.
A lot of teachers are activists, trans activists.
I've not been in these classrooms, and I've not been at school for.
Well, I'll give you an example.
When I was at school, it was very much discouraged to even be LGBT, and I was actually told.
Yeah, go, dude.
And I actually got told.
Go, dude.
Women are women, men are men, mate.
Go, soy boy.
I actually got told not to tell people that I'm LGBT when I was at school. So I've not been in these.
You're not LGBT.
Oh yes, I am.
You're L.
Oh, how do you know?
Because you told me. Because you told me you were lesbian.
Oh, you know I'm a lesbian, but do you know
so you're not
anything else?
LGBT, are you?
I'm part of the LGBT community.
There is no such thing as an LGBT
The trans are
community.
sort of trying to, they're raining on the gay parade.
Sorry, I
and
can
stuff.
reply with
This is fun. Let's go that way. Hi, I'm one of them. How are you doing? All right, I'm Steve. Go on, carry on. We were chatting.
Well, I'll give you an
I think all
example.
education can be made age appropriate.
When my son got told in school of whoever was teaching him, I'm still trying to get this information.
There's a big crowd now, guys. Let me go.
And trying to get transparency of the school and what they're
that way.
teaching my son.
Yeah.
When we're told that,
yeah,
basically a woman can be a man and a man can be a woman, you come out of the lesson and he looked at his friends, and his friends were all looking at each other, very confused. And I don't think we should put that on children at that age.
Ask questions. That's how everyone learns. Confusion is a part of education. Yeah.
So you think confusing a child is part of education?
I was confused by maths when I was 10. Maybe we should teach maths
10 years old? At a very young age?
Mathematics confused me at age 10. Do you think we shouldn't teach maths in schools?
It's a different kind of confusion, though, isn't it?
Why?
Because one's about numbers, one...
You've got a low battery, lad.
Oh,
guys.
damn it.
Trans rights is human rights, guys. We've got trans people.
If someone
Well, you've got to charge
is
Yeah,
questioning their
that's it,
gender,
I know.
I mean, you need to get a portable charger, lad. Yeah, real shit.
someone needs to have that.
I've got a portable charger, lad.
Feel that there's anything
What, like this?
I'm a dude. We'll discuss trans rights and how important they are. Go for it.
And
Well,
Right,
I wanted to be Spider-Man. when I
Guys,
was
it's
young,
either going to
but I
be
mean,
the
it's-
microphone
I mean,
or it's going to be the
yeah,
charger.
but,
So I might have to take the microphone out.
It's just a sort of phase that you go through, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's a very thin line between going, oh, well, it could be just a phase, or you could easily push that into, oh, well, you came out as a lesbian 10 years ago, what if it was just a phase? It could have been, it wasn't. And then you're deciding if it's a phase for someone rather than just letting them go through it.
And with all due respect, being Spider-Man's job, the gender identity is very different to being
Well,
a
it's
superhero.
about the point that I'm trying to make is that, you know, you have these ideas when you're young,
Yes.
and you usually grow out of them. Do you know what I mean? Now, when I'm an adult, I don't want to be Spider-Man. When I was young, I did, and I think you should
What
let
about the
children.
children that do still want to be what they want to be when they're young, when they're older?
Did you know what you wanted to be?
Yes,
Did you,
I knew I was queer from a very young age.
Get in the camera, guys.
Human rights, guys.
I have friends who have children that consider themselves to be non-binary. Those children.
What's non-binary?
Non-binary is when you don't identify with the binary gender, so you don't identify as male or as female. You identify outside of that. It might have aspects of different genders. It might be a rejection of all gender. But
Sounds like someone just wanted attention to me.
why?
Because there are only two sexes. So you're trying to just
I don't think it's true that
identify
there
out
was
of
always
that.
two sexes. We have
There
a long
isn't.
historical representation of trans people in history.
No, but I'm
who
talking.
don't achievements.
But I'm talking about sexes. Two sexes. There's only two.
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't
How
agree
many
with that.
sexes are there?
Okay. You confuse. I think what we're doing now is confusing sex and gender. Non-binary is a gender. It's not a sex.
Right. Okay.
It's an ideology.
We'll bring the
It's an
drag
ideology, isn't it?
queens.
Basically.
I wouldn't call
Because you
it
only
ideology.
really, in reality, you only get two sexes.
Sex and gender are different things.
Yeah, well, I know.
So why are they trying to use
biologically-
gender to cross sex-based boundaries?
We welcome everyone in Newcastle,
know
even
what
if
that
you're
means.
wrong.
So a man can identify as the opposite gender and then enter.
A trans woman can identify as a woman.
So that's a man. All right.
That's a woman to
Okay,
me. I'm
right.
not gonna,
That's a woman to me
I'm
as
not
well.
going to affirm what you're
Based on gender.
Well, hang on, gender.
Based on itself. So then he's using that gender to go into a sex-based space
She is using a gender to use the correct bathroom. Yes.
according to sex. So he's using his gender to go into a female space, into a sex-based place.
She's using her own female space.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, please.
So why are they using gender to cross sex-based boundaries?
But he's not. Sorry. It's not.
He's not.
She is not.
All right. Is that a Freudian slip?
I've had several pints. No, she is a woman, and surely, because in 2025, a very modern society that we live in, and we pride ourselves on being in, surely we should encourage people to feel comfortable being who they are.
Okay.
And why should we oppose someone wanting to go through gender-affirming care, or someone wanting to go through a process, a very difficult, sometimes very expensive, very mentally draining, very exhausting process, where they get judged by people like yourselves. They get hate from people like yourselves for just wanting to be themselves. What's wrong with wanting to be themselves?
Because, okay, you can be who you want to be.
You can.
I'll agree. As long as, with a caveat, let me finish, I'll let you talk. As long as it does not adversely affect anybody else. Now, you talked about comfort and being comfortable.
Yeah.
What about the comfort of those women that do not want men in their spaces?
Okay, here's a question I have for you.
No, answer the question.
No, I will answer
What
the
about the comfort of those women that do not want men in their changing
It's
rooms?
not a man, though. It's a transgender
There you go.
woman
There you
who
go.
is a woman.
There you go. So you're using gender to cross.
I'm using the correct
You're using
terminology.
gender to cross sex-based boundaries.
I'm using the
You say they're
correct
both
term-
different.
I'm using the correct
It is.
terminology.
Any-
to
Trans women
identify
are
as
women.
gender.
They are within their own use of single-sex spaces.
So what is a woman?
What about women's rights?
What is a woman?
Trans
Yeah.
rights are women.
What about women's rights?
What is a woman?
It's a hugely encompassing
A
question.
man.
No,
a
so
woman
that's quite
I'm going to give
simple.
you a soundbite of what a woman is right now.
In
while you're
a
recording.
woman's
The
changing room.
concept of
Does she have no
womanhood.
rights?
You said a trans woman is a woman. So what is a woman? What does it mean to be a woman?
What does it mean to be a man to you?
Pardon?
To be a trans woman.
To be a man? Okay, I've got XY chromosome.
Trans man is
Yeah.
a man.
I fundamentally disagree that
trans
that is
man
what
is a
defines
woman
gender.
who has
I tell you what actually defines male or female. Your ability to produce sperm or to produce ova.
You've got a transgender.
So
That's
people that are intersex, people that are biological women but have different types of hormones. Different.
Pardon?
Someone's had a hysterectomy, that's very true.
Yep.
What if the man can't produce sperm? Is he not
Sorry,
a
guys, I've got my
man?
pronouns.
Yes, he is. But he's got all the reproductive organs to produce sexual organs to produce sperm, whether it works or not.
It is
How do you
confusing.
consider intersex
How about
Pardon?
instead of
How do you
hating
So,
consider intersex people?
name me an intersex condition.
because it is confusing.
Name me an intersex condition.
Because you're hating against trans people
It's
for
when
being
it's
who
No.
when
they
you
are.
geni-
And the reason
Name me a condition.
is because I've had
Name
several
you a
points.
condition.
Yeah.
Why?
That's why
Because
I've covered it in the talk
you brought up the subject.
I understand
Yes.
your
Okay,
point.
so you think you might know
I'm
more about
asking,
it.
I'm asking
It's
whether
hateful
you
to
have an
women.
opinion
My point
on the
is
gender of people who intersex. I'm not about to
somebody
have
that
a deep
believes
dive into the medical
that
definitions
they're
of
born a man.
intersex.
Because you haven't done that much research on the subject, have you?
I wouldn't say that's true.
Okay, well, name me a condition.
What about
No,
women's?
I
what
think you're
about
just
Okay.
using it. You're using that as a deflection.
Right, okay,
So I'm not gonna
I'll
engage
talk
with
to you
that.
about
What
it
about
then.
their rights?
Do you want to come out of the way from in the middle of these two? All right, okay.
Why are you?
Right, so intersex is an old term,
Do you mean what
right?
about the women's feelings?
It's still commonly used.
Well, they use it, but it's an umbrella term for various differences of sexual development.
Yes, I have.
Okay, so it doesn't mean that there's a third sex. Okay,
I never said that.
no, but a lot of people, you know, from the trans rights activist community, if you want to call it that, they say that there is, right? Okay, a lot of people from that community say there is, right? So people that have got a disorder of sexual development, they deserve all the sympathy that we can give them, because it must be really shit to be dealt that card in life. You know, you're born with perhaps ambiguous genitalia or something like that. So there's about 40 different known intersex conditions or disorders of sexual development. So just name me one common one.
One of the really difficult things I think about being intersex is that often at birth, people will make decisions about your genitalia on your behalf to fit you within the sex of man and woman. And I think what that does is it creates long-term damage for that person and their life and for the parents who are like trying to support somebody who might not be defined with a gender they've had forced onto them. Very similar to how people are born without an ambiguous genitalia and they are told they're a gender for their whole life and then they come to a realisation that they are not.
Right. Okay, so there's a condition called 5ARD, right? Do you know about it?
I don't know about that one.
So you must know about Imane Khalif.
I think you're trying to distract me by
No,
going into the
no,
medicalisation
No,
of intersex
no,
experiences.
you talked about ambiguous genitalia. I'm
You
going to.
haven't even answered the question that I was asking you about.
Which was?
About how you consider the gender of intersex people within your
It's not about gender, it's about sex. Okay, every single person that was born intersex is still either male or female. Every single one. It's all about what your reproductive system was set up to produce, whether it works or not. Okay?
So if people have both, some people do have neither.
I was just about to explain one of them. I was going to explain one of them to you. And you said, oh, you're trying to get into the... So when you say some people have both, I can tell you about one. A condition called 5ARD.
The reason that I'm not engaged in the medicalised discussion of this is because I'm trying to talk to you about the lived social experiences of people and the impact that movements like these have on them.
Right, okay.
So I think you diving into the medical terminology and kind of firing that at me isn't a faithful discussion on this.
It's not a faithful discussion to talk about biological reality, because that's what this is all based on.
That's not what I said. I'm talking about this discussion we're having. I don't mean as a general.
Well, you brought up intersex.
Yes, I
so
did.
I'm trying to explain the realities of it, and you don't want to listen.
No, I do know the realities of it. I'm trying to ask you about
Tell me
them
the
as well.
realities about 5ARD.
I am actually.
Tell me the right. All right, Caster Semenya and Imane Khalif had 5ARD. Imane Khalif was a boxer in the Olympics, so you know about him. All right. So tell me, he had 5ARD.
Okay.
Tell me about it.
Tell you about the condition?
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit and go into all of the medical terminology of any
Is it
different
perhaps you don't
intersex.
know?
I don't know all of it in a specific detail.
I'm trying to tell you.
I do know about the names of some of them, and I know a surface level of what they mean. I don't know enough. I might get things wrong.
Yeah.
You're going to have me on a recording and then go, oh, see, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. So no,
It's a live
I don't want to
stream,
go
actually.
into the details that I do
It's
know.
a live stream. We're going out live.
Okay, great. I don't want to go into the details.
Well, you
of the
brought it
medical.
up.
I
Why,
wanted
why
to-
don't you though?
Because I wanted to talk to you about the social experiences, and you've dived into the medical.
Yeah, well, you know, the medical aspect affects social situations. It meant that an Italian opponent of a main caliph, a female, was getting smashed in the face by a man.
I fully think you have a right to voice your own opinion.
I'm remembering the case that you're talking
Yeah.
about. That boxer was a woman. That boxer's a biological woman.
Therefore, why should
Nope, absolutely not, and it's been proven.
modern society?
It's been
That
proven.
is so not true, and I'm pretty sure
Well, do
she's
you want me to
engaged in
say-
a court case against the defamation of her character.
A main caliph, he can never fight again in a female tournament. World Boxing has ruled on that. You might have thought about it at the time. I'm giving you the 100% facts. May I be struck down with lightning and killed if I'm telling you lies now. A main caliph is a man with a condition called 5ARD. I'll tell you about it so you know the
Amir
case.
Khalif is a biological woman that
Man,
was born
it's a
and
man.
raised as a woman.
He was born.
As a biological
He was
woman.
born and raised as a woman, but he was a man with a condition, an intersex condition called 5ARD, 5-alpha reductase syndrome. What happens is when the baby is in the womb, because of a missing enzyme, they do not get this conversion of testosterone to something called dihydrotestosterone, which is responsible for forming male genitalia. So that never happens. And Amain Khalif was born with ambiguous genitalia, okay, and they thought that he was a girl at birth, thought he was a baby girl at birth. Once he hit puberty, he had internalized testes, but he still had testes, all right? Thank you. I got 10% left. Right? Okay, so at the age of about 13, 14, because he had internalized testes, he had a full rush of testosterone, just like any other man would. That's the truth. Look it up. Have you got ChatGPT on your phone?
I don't use ChatGPT,
Okay,
man.
Okay, well, what else do you want to use? I'm just saying.
An actual search engine.
Okay,
actual
use it.
Articles and evidence.
Use
that
a.
are
Okay,
wrong.
well, do that.
I'm not going to sit
I'm just
talking.
talking.
Amain
No,
Khalif is a woman.
go away and
She's
do
suing
it.
for defamation of the people who are calling her a man because she's not a man. I'm not going to sit and agree with you on that point. She doesn't consider herself to be intersex.
It's an actual fact.
It's not an actual
It's a fact.
fact.
Amain Khalif's a man.
absolutely
5ARD. You know nothing about the case other than that he was in the Olympics beating up a woman to win gold
Why are you
medal.
telling me I don't know about the case?
Pardon?
Why are you telling me I don't know about the case? Because
You're telling me lies about it, or you're telling
I'm
me
not telling you lies about it.
what you believe about it, but it's factually incorrect.
Okay.
World Boxing has banned Amain Khalif.
I think you are so incorrect on this.
Okay, well, go and look it up.
I've-
If you were to look it up now on your phone, all right, you look it up and then tell me I'm wrong.
I'm not.
That's my challenge to you. You say I'm wrong, I say I'm right. Look it up now.
Protest you. I'm not going to sit here and on my phone.
Look it up now.
instead. I'm going to sit and engage with you.
Yeah, because it will prove when you look it up that you are wrong on this. You've just not done your research. That's okay.
I trust the experiences of the boxer who says she is a woman.
All right, you trust what he says.
I trust what she
Right,
says.
yeah. Well,
Yes, I do, and I'm not going to agree with you on that.
Well, they've done sex-based testing and it proved that he was a man. It's all done.
I don't think it's sex-based.
Well, I'm telling you, it's done. They've done it.
I would
It's been done.
be incredibly surprised if
Well,
a
I tell you what,
sex-based test
you are
existed in
when
the
you
Olympics committees.
when you go home and look at it, you will be incredibly surprised then because it's the truth.
How about women?
Absolutely not. They test for chromosomes and they test for hormones. They don't test for
It's all been done. Yeah, well, they've done those tests and it's proved that the sex is a male.
No, it proves that a biological woman has different hormones.
Getting changed.
Amain Khalif's a man with a condition called 5ARD.
Okay, I'm going to stop talking.
All right, okay, right. Okay, thank you. There you go, guys. Right, listen, I'm on the last 10% of battery, so I'm gonna have to finish. Right? Yeah. We've got our big. That's everything, guys. I'm gonna have to go back and recharge. Can anybody tell me what time it is? because the time's on the phone. Oh, it's 20 past 2. Are you back here at 4?
I understand what you're saying, however...
Right, okay.
Friday evening, though.
Yeah, right. Guys.
It's also been happening.
Right, guys.
In the 70s.
Pardon?
Is he paying you to do this?
Is he paying me?
Yeah.
For what? Yeah, he is. He's from GB News. I was just chatting to him earlier. That's all.
If you're like a subsidiary channel or something.
No, I'm completely independent. That's my channel, Edge of the Matrix, which for some reason you all find funny.
It is pretty funny.
Well, that's fine. I'm happy with it being funny.
What is the Matrix?
Pardon?
What is the Matrix?
Like,
if that's the edge of the Matrix, what's the core of the Matrix?
The core. I would probably say that the Matrix is this big confusion that they want us all to believe, like, you know, what all you guys believe, and I'm sat right on the edge of it saying I'm not coming in.
What do you think of blue hair and pronouns?
Blue hair and
pronouns? I love me
pronouns.
some blue hair and pronouns, man. Especially on a Friday night, you know, I'll be out at the club.
Say that again, go on.
Yeah, no, I'll be at the club. I love me some blue hair and pronouns.
Right,
Yeah,
okay,
man.
that's fine.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm in that club, I'm going crazy, man.
Blue hair and pronouns. What are your pronouns, by the way?
I don't mind. I use any. I don't really care. They're just fucking words, man.
Right, okay. Yeah, but the words have meanings, right?
Yeah, I know. I like being mysterious. I like being an eclipse, an enigma, if you will.
Right. Are you a rapper as well?
Yeah. No, I'm not a rapper. I just dress like.
Right, okay. I thought he was going to freestyle for me.
No, man, I wish I could, but it'd be a useful skill to learn.
Yeah. Well, do it. Are you at this uni?
Yeah, I'm at North.
What are you studying?
I do finance.
Finance.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think about quantitative easing?
It's bullshit, man. What are you going to do?
What do you think of CBDCs, central bank digital currencies?
I think it's bullshit, man. It's not good. Like, it's left-wing I am socially, I must say. I'm not a legally. Economics is a weird one for me.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about it. There's a lot of conflicting opinions out there on that shit. And, you know, right way to do things. I just think people should live, man. Just go with the fucking flow. As soon as you do.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Well, thanks for being nice and pleasant and chatting with me. Right. I've got to go and charge my. I've got to go and charge my battery because I've got about 10%. Guys, I'm going to have to end the live stream.
Well. I'm going to go smoke some.
Hell yeah, man, that's really sick.
We'll stay here for a little bit longer, but yeah. Well, nice. I like that. I like that. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. It's been really good. It's been really good. Thank you, guys. You've been pleasant. Yeah, have a look. We've all chatted. It's good. This is what I like. Okay, we can have differences of opinion, right? We can. Look up Amin Khalif 5ARD. Trust me. I'm honest. Honestly, just look it up.
Stay away from strong winds, my friend. Stay away.
Yes, I know. It's my nemesis.
I'll take you both to Thailand sometime. We will have a wonderful.
Thank you.
How are you doing, Steve? All right?
Yeah, all right, mate. Thank you. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I like it. I like having debates like that when they're, you know, they're kind of like respectful. I mean, the young people and the minds have been poisoned. They've been the minds have been poisoned and stuff.
You know, but I don't know really. I don't understand why they've got to be. They're just so tunnel vision stuck in their views.
It's those universities there. It is that building there that's poisoning their minds. Hello. Yeah, it's been good. Yeah.
Have the ladies come out yet?
No, I'll be back. I've got to go and charge my battery up, and then I'll be back at like 4 o'clock or just before. Yeah.
Oh, mate, all right.
How would you tolerate them people?
Just be calm and try and have sensible dialogue with them. But often, you know, they were fine because they were kind of like in high spirits and stuff. Sometimes they get nasty, but I think our big friend here, they wasn't going to get nasty while you're here.
I've seen your videos, mate.
Thank you. Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? Yeah. Well, this is going out as a live video now, so if you want, you guys will be on it because it's already out there. It's literally already. Listen, I'm going to go round to the pub round the corner. Not for a beer, just it's a Wetherspoon, so I can get a coffee in there, and then I'll be back here in a bit. Yeah, well, I'll be going round there. I mean, feel free to come with us if you want to sit and have
what do you think about teaching this in schools?
Well, that's where all the problems start. Universities and schools, they shouldn't be doing it, but they are doing it. You know, it's a higher up. You know, it's a top-down agenda.
Well, I'm having massive pushback from my son's school.
Right.
Massive pushback. and are basically being stonewalled. And all I'm asking for, I'm asking for to be transparent. And shows basically the education
what they're being taught.
Because my son's coming out of school, basically, and saying, and they're teaching him basically a woman can be a man and a man can be a woman. Now, I was talking to a guy that was...
How old is he?
He's 10 years old.
10.
He's 11 now, but he was 10 when they were teaching this. So obviously this is concerning for me as a parent.
Absolutely.
So I've asked them to, I basically asked them if they can pull them, if I can pull my son out
of those classes.
It doesn't run with my family values.
Absolutely.
And basically they've said that parents have got no rights. Their children get taught this, whether they like it or not. I can pull them out of sex education, but when it comes down to gender ideology, it's so deep-rooted in the curriculum. And it's worrying.
No, it is. Here we go.
Get right. Stand for Queen.
Oh, she's just nicked that. There you go. There you go. She just stole that sign. Right. Listen, guys, I'm gonna end the live stream now because I've probably got about 2% battery left and I've got to charge it up. I will be back with another live stream at maybe about 3:30, ready for them coming out in the afternoon. Thank you, everybody who signed in. We've got 300 people in the house. We've been on for 2.5 hours. I will catch you again at about 3:30. Thank you, guys. Thanks very much. End the stream. Right, we're done.
Want to go on for a coffee?
Yeah.